welcome in, welcome in. Hello, my favorite gamer words. So today is early Friday stream. Welcome in, everybody. Or I also call it now, going forward, Floundering Friday. I finally was just like, man, I feel like for Fridays, because they're earlier and they're shorter, I have to I need something like catchy to like name them, but like nothing like super cringy. Well, I guess it's a little bit cringy. But anyway, I was like, it came to me in a dream last night about Floundering Friday. I was like, oh, that's catchy enough. That works actually. I'm down for that. And so yeah, the early, shorter Friday streams are now going to be Floundering Friday. Cringe? Well, okay, fine. Just jump off a bridge while you're at it too. Jesus Christ. Floundering Void Friday? Actually, that one's not that bad either. Though it's a little bit, a little bit longer though. So, I don't know how I feel about that. Floundering Friday, it's nice. It's just nice. So yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be going on here. But welcome in everybody to Floundering Friday. Good day, I'm all in chat. Well, good day to you, Mythos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming in. Yeah. Today we will be doing some React Slappa. Though I was probably called, I don't want to call this one Slappa, right? Because this was put in the stream suggestions with 4 gems, which is saying something. Because most videos that get put in stream suggestions don't get any reactions at all, or maybe like a thumbs up or something along those lines, something very small. But we got four gem rolls for this video. Plus it is Flight from Syracuse after all. So it's not that surprising. Well, people have been telling me I need to react to it like all week, but I've been pushing it off because of various different things. So we will get to it today. But speaking of pushing off the video even more so, Pam Bondi has been fired. The witch is dead. Like, she has been ousted. She's been kicked out the door. She has been yeeted the diabetes over here. So we actually do have a good news, a white pill today. It's been fantastic. Yesterday, it certainly happened yesterday, but you know, I don't stream on Thursday, so a little bit of a day late and a dollar short, but never hurt anybody. Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown on crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she'll be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector, to be announced at a date in the near future. And our Deputy Attorney General, and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as Acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. This is just a nice way of saying get the fuck out of here. It's just a nice way to say get the fuck out of here. Pam Bondi, it was mutual. Yeah, right? Oh. It's the same thing happened with Christy Num. Christy Num got transferred to fuck. What was it called again? I know I covered it on stream. But it was some sort of like, it was a role specifically made for her, and it was supposed to be some sort of like something for like South America. She's supposed to like ambassador for South America, which in a way kind of made sense as the whole Venezuelan thing, and how we're kind of like trying to create a sphere of influence again, right? The Don Roe doctrine, not the Monroe doctrine, Don Roe doctrine. But at the same time, like, it still was a fire, like, it's still very clearly a firing, because this is what happens when in the government, very, like, especially to try to prevent any like bad, well, extremely bad blood happening and save face for these public officials, is where they get just transferred out of their roles into you know, paper pushing, hidden away back in the little corner type of deal. So they're still technically part of the government, And the normies were like, oh, okay, well, I mean, they're just doing a reshuffling, right? It's a way to save face. When in reality, it's just a firing. No, that's all. Pam is good at one thing, and it's just the emote of her sucking something off. Yeah, well, I mean, sucking off, like, Israel cock, basically. Here. Going to black pill all but the Fed or going to print money? Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a bit off topic there, so it cut me off surprise. It's like, what I was trying to think of, like, okay, what could have brought that up specifically? And, about the Fed printing money, I'm just like, well, we got the Iran war, and things aren't looking too good with in the oil sector, at least for the rest of the world. Oil prices or oil, fuck. Maybe I should drink some gamer subs today. After having gamer subs on Wednesday, and I was just like an energetic little squirrel, like all over the place. Today, I am completely different. I have one hit of caffeine and it hits me like fucking crack cocaine, I guess. Oh, but oil sales are going in the Chinese yuan or yun or yun? Isn't how you spell? I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. It's foreign. The Chinese currency there, so that's always a good sign. It's all good things, all good things. And she's getting transferred to the private sector. Yeah, she made a statement herself. Here. Over the next month, I'll be working tirelessly to transition the office of Attorney General to the amazing Todd Blanche before moving to an important private sector role I'm thrilled about, and where I'll continue fighting for President Trump and this administration. Leading President Trump's historic and highly successful efforts to make America safer and more secure has been the honor of a lifetime, and easily the most consequential first-year Department of Justice in American history. Since February 2025, we've secured the lowest murder rate in 125 years, secured first ever terrorism convictions against members of Antifa, shattering domestic and transnational gangs across the country, taking custody of more than 90 key cartel figures, and won 24 favorable rulings in the Supreme Court. Well, except for birthright citizenship. Anyways, I remain eternally grateful to the trust that President Trump placed in me to make America safe again. Wop wop. I mean, obviously every time they come out, like they leave and they have to like bow out gracefully like this. They talk about the different ones that they've had. And I mean, having the lowest murder rate in 125 years is pretty good, if that is accurate. It could, I don't know how true that is. I haven't fact checked it. I haven't the Snips fact checked, but I know under Biden, they helped lower the murder rate and crime statistics by just having the cities just not report them. So that was a big problem back in the Biden administration. I would hope that Trump doesn't do it with his administration, but, you know, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I am ye of little faith when it comes to Trump at this point in time. First ever terrorism convictions against members of Antifa, I mean, that is pretty good, except that they still assassinate Charlie Kirk, and still causes, you know, all those Minnesota problems, and they're still quite rampant, and they still are just, you know, existing in the first place. But I guess better than nothing, right? I guess take what you can get. Shattered domestic and transnational gangs across the country. I'm pretty sure they're still in place, actually. The 90 key cartel figures, okay, not bad, but, I mean, goes back to the previous sentence. They're still active. And the 24 favorable rules of the Supreme Court, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, hey, once again, better than nothing. Still don't know about birthright citizenship, but it's fine. How's the deportations going? I mean, there's net negative migration, supposedly, where people are just not coming in. So that's a good thing, right? That is better than nothing, right? As critical as I am to Trump, he has done good things in the first year, like the net negative migration. Statistics recently just came out about how 94% of asylum seeker applications have been denied, which is amazing. Like, just 94% of asylums just being like, seekers being like, get the fuck out of here, based. There's Doge, even though that was short-lived. That was because of Congress and the swamp in general. Just blackpilling Elon about the fact that there's going to be government corruption no matter what. But at least it was tried. The Afrikaners, being actual real asylum seekers brought to America, that's actually a good thing. Especially since they're being genocided in their own fucking country, like actually genocided. Okay, like not the leftist definition of genocide, like trans genocide or anything like that. No, like actually being raped and murdered in their own fucking households there because of the savages, in South Africa. That's a good thing. So like there have been wins that we would not have gotten under like Democrats. That Democrats would have made things a million times worse. But Trump's not exactly what we were hoping he would be, and the Iran war is making things worse in its own way, so you know. It's fine. Oh, thank you, Mini Mindus, for the $10 dose. Thank you. Some Nyani to the best World War II cat girl. Well, thank you so much. I know we're having the vampire campaign not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. So yeah, I can be more of a Nazi cat girl just for you, chat. So thank you. Man, she learned a lot from Arch ignoring super chats. No, I just read your super chat. It just one YouTube has a 15-second delay roughly, and two, I was rambling. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, but we had a lot of worker migrations. Yeah, there's also that, right? The H-1B program is not going away. In fact, it's been expanded upon in general. So there's definitely problems with the administration. Don't get like, I mean, come on. I've been critical of Trump since like what? June of last year? I know a lot of my old streams like had to be wiped off when my YouTube channel got struck, which is unfortunate. But for the old heads have been here for a while. I think it was like June roughly that I started becoming a little bit more critical of Trump because the Epstein files were being completely floundered. By Pam Bondi here. Thank God that she's gone. So, and it's just been like a downhill since. But I'm also trying to be relatively objective. Well, I say relatively because obviously I'm biased, right? I'm further right than Trump is. And so I'm going to be critical of him coming from being further right. But I also don't want to be completely unreasonable either, because the purpose of the system is what it does. And unfortunately, Trump's a pressure release valve. It's like I was actually having a debate with somebody last night about Trump either being a stepping stone or pressure release valve, and because I personally go back and forth on them. Like I go like, okay, he's a stepping stone because of him, he's given a lot of hope to people, and actually is part of the right moving forward and actually gaining ground again. A lot of it is because the online right, and the online right did help elect Trump back in 2016, back then, and he's also shown in the case of Europe that like you can actually have a more right-leaning leader that can actually do something. He was an outsider coming in, actually did want to drain the swamp, of course, 10 years ago now, but still, but like it was still 10 years ago that he entered the fray, and it's been the political landscape has not been the same since because of him, and he has really shaken things up. And if he didn't come into the political landscape and he didn't run for office and we had a typical rhino or just a typical Democrat, it's hard to imagine the hypothetical of what the landscape would be, because he has drastically changed so much of how the old guard used to work in those cases. And would accelerationism come in and people get to the same logical point that they hear now? Or because of Trump, things have actually been able to be handled? not really exactly handled, but because he's actually shown that you can actually just do things to a certain degree. It's kind of hard to judge there. But you can't deny that Trump getting into office has radically changed the political landscape both in America and in Europe as well. Le Pen got massive popularity and she's been screwed out the election multiple times and now she's under house arrest. Meloni was able to win in Italy, though she's betrayed, but it's a different story. Nigel Farage and UKIP helped put pressure on the Conservatives to actually try to make Brexit happen, and then they did Brexit in name only, betrayed. But regardless, without that, they wouldn't have done Brexit in general. They would have just remained in that case. And because of Nigel Farage's failings, has led to Rupert Lowe as well. And it's a lot of it can be pointed back to Trump, and that a lot of it can be pointed back to Trump. Which is why there's an argument for him being a stepping stone. However, if you juxtapose Britain and America, where there was never really a Trump person be able to get into power, Boris Johnson was labeled by the British media to be the British Trump, but he was a lame duck at best when it came to things. And then Nigel Farage's ego, and he's just a fucking snake. And then the Conservatives dying out and Labour winning just because nobody voted, and then Keir Starmer making things worse. There was no real pressure release valve where things were sort of kind of being solved in small quantities like there is under Trump. And so things have just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, which has allowed a figure like Rupert Lowe to come into prominence. And he is extremely radical, further right than Trump, thank God. And now, as an American, I want a Rupert Lowe in America because Trump is not that. Trump isn't that kind of figure. Maybe he was 10 years ago in the political landscape back then, but things have changed within 10 years. A lot of people are further right, being seeing how bad things have gotten, and Trump not fully solving them. But now, because Trump is in office and he's still got a few years left, you still have people batting for him, saying that everything's fine. You have people calling people who are criticizing panicans, and there's just this huge divide that's weakening the Republicans. The midterms are going to be a fucking slaughter. The Iran war keeps on happening. It's just an absolute disaster. Versus Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain have my personal opinion, have a very good chance of winning in 2029. But it took Britain going through a lot fucking worse to get there, for them to basically have the guaranteed chance to win. But then again, without Trump being in the first place, it's kind of hard to see if that domino effect would have happened to allow Rupert Lowe to even be a part of the discourse, because he has affected international politics too. I know it kind of sounds like American arrogance here, but you cannot deny the effect Trump has had across the entire world because of his existence. And it's hard because it's like, okay, is he a stepping stone or a pressure release valve? I can't fully decide exactly where I stand on that opinion yet. Has been that way for 100 years? What specifically has been that way for 100 years, I guess, and exactly which country, because I went back and forth. Low was Britain first, Trump is Israel first. Well, there's also that too. Yes, there's also that aspect. We shouldn't be involved in foreign wars, Rupert Lowe, but fucking based. Though technically that's what Keir Starmer had said in his, well, not exactly said, but Keir Starmer, the stance that he had during his speech the other day, trying not to get involved within the Iran war. It's best to provoke tyrants into showing their true colors so people can stop listening to their lies. Fair point. I think because of Trump's failures and empty promises and how loyal to Israel he is, has allowed a lot of people to wake up and go further right, because he's not actually the pressure released anymore, right? He's not actually doing anything. He's actually kind of making things worse, and we've been bamboozled once again. And we already know the Democrats are going to kill us as soon as we get back in power. So, that's where the stepping stone thing kind of comes in. Because, like, if Trump actually did solve everything, I probably would not be as radical as I am. You know, it's going back and forth once again. He can be two things at once. You know what? Fair point. Fair point. He can be both a stepping stone and pressure release. But then I thought, technically they're contradictory labels then. Because if he's pressure releasing, that means he's stopping people from advancing, which is the exact opposite of a stepping stone, because a stepping stone's the whole point is going forward and bringing that advancement. Technically, if we're going to go specifically based off the labels and their meanings. But you know, it's just a hypothetical. Well, it's not exactly hypothetical. It's a good thought process. It's a good little thinking to do. And I guess two things can be true at once when it comes to this, even if they are technically contradictory labels. Trump is more a last chance to add a more peaceful reformation to the problems before Caesar has to come to power. Well, he was supposed to be our Caesar, but yes. I guess. But then again, at the moment, we don't have anybody to be that Caesar rising up. Versus Nigel Farage is definitely 100% Britain's last chance for a more peaceful reformation. So much so that Elon responded agreeing to me when I tweeted about that. And then Rupert Lowe quote tweeted Elon thanking him for his support and was like, hold on, wait a second. Elon responded to me, and then also I'm like 1 degree away from separation from Rupert Lowe now. What's happening? Okay, this is a pipe. This is a dream. Okay, got it. But that's why I really believe, because Britain's a powder keg right now. America's not a powder keg. Like, yes, we're very upset, but like every single time, this is where the pressure release valve theory comes in, and it has a little bit more substantial substance to it. Is the fact that like Irina Zarutska, her fucking brutal murder that happened back in October last year when she was just got on the bus and some fucking black dude, drugged out of his mind black dude, just stabbed her. He was just wandering around the bus, just being, oh, sorry, it was a train. Being like, I got that white girl, I got that white girl. That had people on the fucking, like, at the edge of their seats, like, okay, this is fucking it. And then Charlie Kirk got assassinated, like, a week fucking later? Or sorry, I think I'm getting my timeline mixed up. But they were both very close together. Done. And it's just like, and that was when America was a powder keg. But then Trump was like, okay, this is such a horrible tragedy. You know, we're gonna stop this from happening. We're going to go after these judges who just, you know, just give these felons, you know, just slap on the wrist. We're going to go after Antifa, and people are like, okay, Trump's going to do something. And then nothing fucking happened. But then the momentum was gone. And here we are. Timeline is close enough? Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. I do have a memory of a goldfish. Early onset dementia, it's fine. They're just as bad silver? I mean, that's true. That is true. The girl bothered me more than Charlie. They're both absolute tragedies. But Irina Zarutska was the quintessential just story of white girls being murdered by blacks, essentially. Because every single day there's a new story. Like, if you unfortunately pay too much attention, every single day there is a news story where a white woman has been murdered by a black man in America. It's just as bad as the Pakistani rape gangs in Britain, where every single day there's a new channel migrant rape. It's different, technically, and sort of kind of different demographics, blacks versus the Muslims, but it's still every fucking day. every day this happened. But hers was probably the most gruesome one, because it, especially, I think the real kicker for Irina Zarutska was the fact that she was safer in Ukraine than she was in America. Because she was a Ukrainian refugee, an actual legit refugee from an actual legit war from a white nation. A legit actual asylum seeker. In that case, one of the few exceptions I would actually probably have for asylum seekers. Though frankly, I still think she should go elsewhere in Europe than America. It's still close enough on my book that I'll let it pass. She was safer in Ukraine, being a war-torn country, than in America. Just coming from a minimum wage job, riding the fucking train, because we have an epidemic of blacks. And then just watching her bleed out, just Jesus fucking Christ. It, like, just, so yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I did actually hit so hard. Thank you to the chickens for the $2 widows. Thank you. Make E-Verify mandatory already, dumbasses. I might be misunderstanding you, but if you mean E-Verify like digital ID, then I strongly disagree with you. If E-Verify is supposed to mean something else and I'm under a rock or misunderstanding, my apologies. But I see E-Verify and I think digital ID, and therefore I say fuck it. No, I don't want anything to do with it. And thank you, Jericho Got Taken, for the 500 warp tokens earlier. My apologies. But thank you nonetheless. Flight from Syracuse? Hell yeah, yes. We will get to him. Probably sooner than later, because it is a 40-minute video, so it's gonna be a good chunk of stream right there. Overall. Oh, and thank you, Shadilay, for the $20 widows. Thank you, with a YouTube link with hashtag SleepyGang. Please don't be a virus. Please don't be a virus. Please don't be a virus. Ah. I see why it's hashtag SleepyGang now. Under a rock? Oh. Okay, then what is E-Verify? E-Verify is a system that tells someone is allowed to work in the US. Ah! Okay. Sorry. I must have missed that. Then that actually sounds good. Though, I would probably say the simpler solution is just, you know, only have Americans be in here and don't import anybody. So, E-Verify is easy to cheat. Illegals have access to tons of stolen identities. Yeah, there's that problem too. There are so many quote-unquote legals in the country that are actually illegal thanks to immigration lawyers and NGOs that I don't really trust it. I'd rather just color swatch people and say to get the fuck out of here. Like, I know it's a pipe dream and unrealistic, but that is the simplest solution here. We have so many people that need to get out of here. We had to deport like half the fucking country, unironically, if you do the math. I'm not gonna get into math right now. I've talked about it a few times on stream already. But yeah, E-Verifying is a stepping stone. It would help a bit, but it's not the solution whatsoever. Well, so if you don't hire any legal workers, you always be below size where you're required to use E-Verify. Oh, so you have to. Oh, is it one of those fucking loopholes there? Below size for so like you have to have so many like actual employees to use E-Verify, but if they're under the table, then they don't know they exist. Okay. Jesus. Okay. I mean, it's better than nothing. It is better than nothing, but it's not the solution. Let's see. Okay, so we have the Shadilay, the $20 reduce that he's using to bribe me with is for this video. Discourse on misogyny. I too have met women. Okay, The Decline of the West has been promised all fucking week, and it's 40 minutes long. But $20 is 20. Oh, $20 is $20. You don't need a report, you just need a shovel. True and real. Okay. Well, I had more tabs about Pam Bondi, believe it or not, before I started yapping. I was trying to be like, okay, I was trying to balance the React sloppa with actual news. But $20 is $20. So, let's get this party started. Plus, I mean, more reasons to bash women. I'm not going to complain about that.
Discourse on Misogyny by Yukio Mishima, 1954. Translated by Masaki at masakijinzaburo.substack.com. Narrated by an artificial intelligence based on the voice of Orson Welles. Produced by Parker Banks. Misogynist or woman hater is a fairly meaningful and honorable title. I generally think that people like Strindberg are the leading misogynists.
Is it the Jews?
Such people repeatedly meet a terrible fate with women, but are unable to fully abandon their fixation with them. So when they once again approach them, they once again meet a terrible fate. And as their hatred combined with their love increase 100-fold, they extend their Hasliebe for individual women to women in general. The misogynist comes to transcend an intuitive standpoint to adopt a purely philosophical one, and his worldview is thoroughly tinted with the hue of misogyny. Such people are truly worthy of the title of misogynist. It would be presumptuous of me to call myself by such a title, which is why I have never called myself such. However, the kindly public has recognized me as such, so I have been forced to write such a manuscript. At which point, yet another kind friend rushed to advise me that I must not write such a manuscript. He says that my novels will not sell. Even I know that the majority of novel readers are ladies.
Okay, I disagree. This would be absolute fucking fire. Oh, if this was a book. Holy shit, 1 minute and 20 seconds in, and it's just absolute fucking gem rolled here. Oh my god. I feel bad for men. Women are so evil. Women are just like naturally evil. Absolute fucking scum of the earth, and yet they're attracted to women and have to reproduce with them. And the fact that he's like, yeah, I would never call myself a misogynist. It's just too much of a power, right? It's too powerful of a label to have. Holy shit.
But Thibaudet says the novel was born of the woman's sitting room. The novel is like man born in the woman's room and is the genre that will one day become king. But in the present, when the genre of the novel has more than halfway collapsed, there is surely yet room to doubt whether the novel is for women. Even having received such counsel, I have to write the truth. On the whole, rather than being a misogynist, I simply think in the old-fashioned way that women are not to be taken seriously.
No! Chat! Oh my fucking god, this is worth the $20. Holy shit. Oh, yes, do not take women seriously. That includes me. Holy, this is beyond base. This is like bedrock fucking base level here. Holy shit.
Women are inferior, and I have rarely met a woman who is not foolish. This naturally includes clever fools. In truth, further, I am afraid of women, but what I fear most in men also is the foolish man. Indeed, there is nothing so fearful as a fool. As a note, because there are also foolish PhDs and many intelligent people who have received no education at all. I am not taking educational attainment into issue at all. Having spoken thus, there will surely appear women who will twist my words and take pity on me as an unfortunate man who has never met a truly intelligent woman. They may assert as much. However,
there's no such thing as an intelligent woman. Like, at least not to the same scale as a man. The reason there's this quote that I'm gonna misquote here, but it's so fucking true. The reason why there's no women Einsteins is the reason why there's no women Mozarts. Because it just men have just naturally higher IQ than women, and they can hit the higher peaks to be able to create absolute masterpieces or like massive breakthroughs in science that a woman just cannot hit. It's a whole different, and plus on top of it, it's a whole different skill set and go about it. Women do actually have a purpose. I know. I guess I'm not enough of a misogynist here. I'm defending women, but they have a different skill set, and it's not made for these wondrous works of arts or advancements of humanity. It's for just the procreation and nurturing of the men to bring on the advancement of humanity. So they do have a very important purpose, but they're not the leaders. There's no such thing as an actually truly intelligent woman. If anything, if a woman's too smart, she's actually a bit dangerous because then she's got like there's on top of being arrogant because she's pretty, because most men are attracted to most women just naturally. She's also thinks that she's actually clever when she's not.
Women, that is, women who live constantly in the illusion that they are individual exceptions to the rule, are in fact representative of foolish women. The meaningless vestiges of the chivalric spirit earn frowns from Japanese travelers everywhere in the West. But that such tendencies are spreading in Japan as well spurs on the sincerity of my patriotic concern for Japan's future. Even I open doors for women, allow them to enter cars first, and lend them an arm when crossing the street as a compromise with the world. But inside, I am telling them to eat shit. In general, even going by average life expectancy, women necessarily live longer than men, and it is strange that short-lived human beings must take care of long-lived human beings. Montherlant mocked and insulted women, and this...
I mean, it's technically because men go to war and so they die a lot more versus women stay at home and can stay fat and comfortable. Men are more risk takers, and they're like once again going back to being the leaders. Even if they're not like a CEO, they're still leader of the household, so they actually take on a lot of burden, responsibility, and stress. And stress does eventually kill you at a certain point.
Is it the Jews?
Overall,
Is it
all
the
those different
Jews?
factors do lead
I'm
into a
assuming it's
slightly
always the
shorter
Jews.
lifespan, technically. But I do get his point.
young nobleman was surely full of indignation at the chivalric spirit. However, since he did not attempt a revolt against the Christian spirit, which formed the womb of the chivalric spirit, his novels are exceedingly tepid, and they are comical for a Japanese to read. My misogyny surely has deep roots in anti-Christianity. Thus, I view Christianity as the most harmful thing that modern Japan has adopted from Western civilization. Women have...
Oh, that's gonna be some spice for chat. I'm. Mm. I can see his point. I can see his point. Don't flame me, chat. Christianity is essential to Western civilization, and through it has led a lot of scientific advancements as well as philosophical advancements, and through a mix of breeding between philosophy and religion, we have definitely brought a more egalitarian outlook. So much so that the religion itself has been perverted, where you must love thy neighbor even though he's a third world 46 average IQ Liberian. There, and he's just as equal to you as me. A lot of it can be pinned back to Christianity just because it's Western. It's a Western religion, and it does go hand in hand with our philosophy. But I'm not saying I fully agree with that standpoint, but I can see where I can see where one can get that point, especially as a foreigner, in this case Japanese, where they have their own religions and cultures and customs that are different, even if they're honorary Aryans, still different nonetheless. There. It depends on when this was written. Somebody in chat said it was like 60s. And I don't think the Vatican II has happened. When was? Let me look up when the Vatican II was. So that's when Christianity really got fucked up. And at least Catholicism specifically because Catholic background. Um, but let's see. Second Vatican Council, 1962-1965 was convened by Saint John, the 23rd, and continued by Paul the Sixth. It was a landmark ecumenical council aimed at modernizing the Catholic Church. Literally, the whole point was to fucking modernize it. Yeah, needless to say, that's why I fucking blame the Vatican too. If Mishimina and modern pagan/atheists could understand what a good Christian must be always aware, they would have converted. See, that's the thing, right? Because Christianity, if you go actually back to Christianity's roots, or you don't even have to go that far, Christianity is actually a pretty strong faith. But with the evolution of the Western world and liberalism, egalitarianism, has also brought in the evolution of Christianity as well. It's a very harsh topic that I feel like nobody really wants to actually address. Because, like, okay, maybe I should say no one wants to address. But it's not something I see people actually talk about. A lot of people, like, can go back and blame Vatican II for the modernization of it. They say, oh, commies infiltrated the church, different things like that. Once again, Catholic background here, so I'm coming from that perspective. Which I would agree. But what led, but as someone who believes liberalism is just a stepping stone to communism, it kind of goes hand in hand. And I don't really know how to. I don't have the smarts, right? I'm not well read. I'm not an intellectual woman because once again, they don't fucking exist, as Mishima is saying, right? I don't think I would have to actually sit down, ponder, and read like 25 different books before I could actually properly articulate. And even then, it probably wouldn't be to the same extent this topic actually deserves. To articulate and actually formulate a proper argument for this. Just 25 random books? No, books on about this topic, religious books, atheist books, philosophy books in general. Probably actually more than 25 books when you actually add them all together. You already read Milking Farm. Fuck you! 25 Milking Farm novels. No! It does seem like Western Christians do struggle with their faith. I would bet they don't believe nearly as hard as their ancestors did. Well, no, because we have science now. It was much easier to be religious back in the day because you would just and you didn't have the means to explain why things happen. The sun rose because the sun god made the sunrise. Didn't realize that the earth turns and we're part of the solar system. It rains because of the process, sixth grade fucking science that I've long forgotten. But the condensation in the atmosphere and the formation of clouds and different things like that. It's not because the rain god or, and if you want to be a Christian, one specific god made it happen. It's science. Now, of course, now with the modernization of faith, it'd be like, okay, well, God's the one who made that science happen in the first place, so it still is God. But to a lot of normies, that's just more grasping at straws. And it's harder to really defend that without having like true faith. But then again, I am agnostic myself. So there's discourse anytime religion comes up, and unfortunately religion's coming up a lot more often on my channel. I say unfortunately because once again, I feel like I'm not smart enough or well read enough to actually talk about these within in depth. But it's like it's very tricky trying to balance it there. Um, Old wives' tales and superstitions protect the smartest and the dumbest. Yeah, I would say that's relatively accurate. Um, there. But let's go back to the actual video itself.
no connection to the abstract spirit. In music and architecture, nothing decent has come of women's hands, and they always sully transparent abstract structures with a sticky sensibility. An absence of organizational ability, an excessive sensibility, trivialism, a meaningless specificity, and a low-grade realism. These are all womanly flaws. And in the arts, a womanly style is unproblematically bad style. I cannot but curse the literary history of Japan, which has continued endlessly with damp sensibility. Although abstraction is in one aspect the ability to know moderation and restraint, because women lack these things, even masculine women like George Sand write and are proud of unreadable, tedious works without beginning or end. I love Nogaku most among Japanese arts, but its principle of restraint is entirely due to the invention of men. Hearing recently that there are schools that allow women to enter the stage of Nogaku, I am astounded by their lack of principle. My hatred of romanticism comes entirely from my hatred of women. Tearful works, sob stories, heartbreak suicides, the pushing of solitude, such things all flatter women and are the degradation of art. In fact, the degradation of art stems entirely from the advancement of women in society. When women complain about something, male artists with no backbone have always compromised and submitted to them. That feminist France delayed granting women the franchise for so long is because France knew what art is. I wish we would tie women MDs and such like together with rope and throw them into Tokyo Bay.
Disavow! Disavow! Base with disavow! Oh my god. I had a point. I now remember my point. I was gonna say something, but I got distracted by the fucking baseness there. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I wonder what his opinion is on the theory that the men are the romantic sex, which is a theory that I subscribe to. I do think men are the romantic sex. Like all the love songs, all the poetry, all the novels, because women didn't actually write anything for the longest time. Like they're all like all the stories in general, not just the written ones, but also the oral throughout time. The amount of things that have occurred just on behalf of women, right? Like Helena Troy, right? The amount of wars that have started over women. Like men are the romantic sex, but it's also their Achilles heel. But this guy's recognizing this Mishimita guy. You gotta resist the pull of women to be able to be competent. Well, I don't say be competent because like a lot of competence has occurred on behalf of women. Women have too much power, man. But he's calling the guys who do create art on behalf of women like basically simps and weak. So I'm not sure he was subscribed to men being the romantic sex. However, I do feel like some of that truth is already within his speech so far. Disavow but laughs, not taking it seriously because it's ridiculous now. So silly. No, I fucking love this. No, like, I disavowing for, like, YouTube's sake here. But, like, and obviously, he's not actually going to be tying up women and throwing them in Tokyo Bay, right? Even he recognizes that. You can tell by his tone of voice. But everything he's saying about women is basically true. Women are just inherently evil. Including me, by the way, because I have a vagina. Fortunately and unfortunately. Once again, too much power. Too much power.
As for women who show their faces in public, like ancient Greece, sophisticated prostitutes are alone enough. The corruption of morals has also occurred from the side of women. A morality that reduces men's ability for work and binds men to a sexual existence was proposed from the side of women, and countries like America have sustained frightful harm thanks to women. Evil humanisms are always womanly. That morality particular to men, the morality of Rome, was distorted by Christianity into a universal human morality. The corruption of morality began at that time. The neutralization of morality began. Such things as monogamy are mythical sophistries that ignore the distinction of sex of morality. Women fixate on that. They fixate from a human perspective.
Interesting here. So, I mean, not like this is already spicy enough with a Christian debate right there. Uh, but monogamy ignoring sex, because there's technically is an argument there. Um, one man can impregnate multiple women versus a woman can only be impregnated by one man. Biologically, there is an incentive for polygamy for a man to just impregnate as many women. Now, of course, ideally the man's also supposed to protect and provide for those women because if he just up and abandons them, then the woman dies and therefore also the child dies, and that's where it comes into like there's different religions have different structures, to how to handle that. Like even in Islam, where you can have multiple wives, there's still kind of a limitation on how many you can have, and you have to be able to show proof that you can provide for your previous wives as well, because you can't just like leave them high and dry like that. There's already like cultural and institutional impacts to kind of control that to a certain degree. Because I mean, one, it's suicidal because you're destroying your legacy by just leaving them high and dry, and two, it's a bit cruel to say the least. But biologically, there is only the incentive for polygamy. However, it also leads to more warring states because when all the women are being taken by one man or a select few groups of men, it leaves the rest of the men to not be able to procreate, which then causes problems there. They have to actually fight for those women to get control, which then creates a more violent people, and that's not exactly that's not exactly a stable society at that point. Or monogamy, where one man gets one woman, they can have multiple kids, is that way, especially if they have them young enough, which doesn't happen in the modern world, but that's what's supposed to occur, right? Get them when they're 19, okay? Anyways, then every man can procreate, and you don't have that, and you can there's more stability there. You can have more wholesome family units and work together because you're not at each other's throat constantly for resources for your for women and then for actually providing for those multiple women. Which is actually a huge part why Western society has been able to flourish because we were one of the few areas of the world that actually practices monogamy. Both sexes are romantic, is a man's romance is more born of passion than a woman. Women just want to be raped. I say that half jokingly, but all women's fantasies are being dominated and controlled. Which is not that surprising, seeing that, way back in the day, that's when warring nations had to fight. The best way is just to rape the woman and take the woman and make them their own. And so, therefore, it weakens the other tribe because they're not able to procreate with their own woman once again. And so, therefore, women just naturally develop this little fetish to just be taken and dominated because they are the weaker sex. Now, obviously, legally, right, and morally, rape is bad. But there's a reason why women have 80% of women have a rape fetish. Okay, it's a fetish. They just want to be desired and dominated. That's it. Very simple. Very simple.
That women were given this foothold caused the morals of men to collapse. Men lost the integrity of the Romans and learned to lie. Men learned that lying from women. Christian morality fundamentally contains hypocrisy. That is because the moral aim, the concocted universal humanity, lie in the equality of men before God. Contrary to this, in the pagan world of antiquity, to be human was to be a man. Men had moral responsibilities following the enhancement of manly virtue. This is because it is the function of men to comprehend the structure of the world, lend a hand to its construction, and will its domination. As a result of men having been caused to lose this pride, men have permitted themselves to abandon their position as specialists in morality. Women have been allowed to complain about and interfere in morality. And finally, I think that this has invited the moral collapse of today. Speaking from one side, men have escaped moral responsibility thanks to the advancement of women. The day that
Okay, apparently there's a little bit of debate in chat over like what rape is. Okay, like, and I want to clarify this because whenever I also do this half joke on Twitter too, it's like, well, it's not actually really rape. Like, you're missing the point. Okay, it's there's a difference between fantasy and reality. Would I love some tentacle slime monster to sneak into my room at 2 a.m., pin me down, and fuck me senseless? Yes, that would be amazing. But unfortunately, that's not reality because it's a fantasy. Just like how men want a woman to be nice to them and actually care about them. That's also a fantasy. It's not reality. But you can desire something and even though it's not real. And the actual effect of what happens when it does become real can be opposite to what the fantasy is because it's like, yeah, C and C, right? Consensual non-consent. It's not the like no woman wants to actually be raped by some brownoid because it's only the brownoids that do the rape. Oh, okay, fine. Every once in a blue moon, there's a white man because somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, but white men commit rape too." Okay, yeah. Do we have to bring up per capita? Anyways, um, the effect of it. Amal doesn't care about us. No, suck my cock. Um. But it's not actual rape that they desire. It's what rape represents in their mind. It's where a man completely loses control and of his like prohibitions and he just takes the woman and just fucks her senseless and uses her as a toy and breeds her. Totally not a fetish that I have myself, and I'm not, the author's definitely feel fetish here. It's what it means because then, like, that's kind of what rape is, right? It's where a man ignores his all logical functions, all laws, all cultural dominance. Well, I guess unless it's actually normal to rape, but like, yeah, anyways, because that once again, it's never a brownoid that the woman's fantasizing about, and just finds a woman just so attractive or attractive enough where she's got a hole, right? And rapes her. And that's but it's the consensual non-consent part when it comes to the fantasy. Whereas there's a woman like and what she desires is a man that's attractive as well to take her. Like it's not actual real rape, clearly, but it's the underlying meaning of what it is to be raped that's what matters. Is the domination and desire. Just got here, so yeah. Well, welcome to to Amalgamation Retard Station. We talk about rape fetishes on a daily basis. Not even joking here. Um, um. So I hope you'll enjoy. Also, Restream bot is going from Kick. I multi-stream on YouTube, Kick, and Rumble, and so it shares the chats there. That's what Restream bot is. Do we need to have a bot just saying what Restream bot is? Because this happens like once a week. Okay, once a week's a bit of an exaggeration, but anyways, but yes, it's not actual fucking rape. It's the meaning of rape there. Well, I know it's not actually like it's it shouldn't be that hard to understand unless I'm really badly explaining it, which is actually really likely because once again, women are intellectual, and I'm one of them. The Seek is a woman. Buy 'em all. Yes.
That women themselves notice that just as there is only slight difference between sadism and masochism, so is there only slight difference. Gallantry toward women and misogyny is surely still distant. Women are fools, so they will likely not notice. I do not feel like fooling women, so I speak directly in the knowledge that I will thus be hated. But so long as women do not take notice of that truth, the victory of men who are devoted to deceit will surely continue for some time. To take pride in the use of deceit is shameful as a man, and these methods are naturally a misuse of the methods of women, but for all that, they are the most effective of methods. The Vicomte de Valmont of Dangerous Liaisons is a master of gallantry and well versed in the nature of gallantry, that is, its purposiveness. Politeness for the sake of politeness is unrelated. Valmont would arrange every word of woman worship with the greatest sincerity, fully mobilize the flatteries that enchant the hearts of women, and then, once a woman had entrusted herself to him, discard her like a pair of worn-out shoes without looking back. Ladies may hold that compared to these, those like feminists who take feminism without purposiveness for the sake of feminism as a front are spiritually impotent. Women who think that such men are the allies of women are even more incurable fools than those who think Vicomte de Valmont an ally of women.
Is he talking about male feminists now? Oh my god. Always beware the male feminist chat. Holy shit, that is something that's been lost as social justice warriors have kind of died out, and it's been more replaced with woke, and then a lot of the male feminists have tuned out as well. But way back in the day, there was something called a male feminist, and it was the most soy boy cuckold you could imagine. And every single time there would be an accusation of sexual assault and or rape from them, and not the good kind of rape. Once again, there's a difference. Every single time, and then you have Sargon coming in being like, "I wouldn't even rape you." And now I've been seeing a little bit more discourse on this on Twitter recently from like these I'm assuming they're like engagement bait accounts, because it's like this kind of same thing repeated over and over again. It's kind of like an art, like a it's just a standard stock photo picture of a woman for their profile too. But it's just like I'd rather be in the company of the biggest misogynist and woman hater than be around a male feminist. And it's which once again I think is a little bit of engagement there, but I mean it's technically true because male feminists are just like skinwalkers. They pretend to believe in the current thing, and to be on woman's side. Oh, the pink text, the glass ceiling, patriarchy, so evil. Oh my god, I know, sister. Guess what? And they're very weak, and so women are actually not attracted to them because they want a masculine man to tell them no, which is what a misogynist is. Hence why there was that whole thing back in the day where, like, I want a liberal man in a MAGA body. Just. Anyways. This is fucking ridiculous. Oh. I'm just thinking of Hassan Piker because that's what he was called, and his tiny little head just peeking out, like a little gopher. Oh god. Anyway, but I'm getting off topic now. Oh, but like male feminists or like actual full like evil devils, always stay away from them. They're only in it to for the sex, because they can't actually get a woman themselves. So then they get a little bit frustrated. Then oop, oh, you get a little bit, you got touched the wrong way, didn't you? Zarkon has at least 2 kids now, so I suppose that changed him. He's got 5 fucking kids. Like, he is populating. I think you, Jericho, got taken for the 500 rope tokens. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Speaking truths not uttered amongst the man. Listen, listen. Part of the reason why I started this channel was to vent my frustrations on the world and try to give and just talk about different issues that, like, if a man says it, he gets labeled as misogynist, which I guess I get labeled misogynist too as well, like eternalized misogyny, right? But I'm just like, listen, men, this is what women fucking want. Like, we have to fix the dating scene somehow, and so if like I hear it from the woman from the horse's mouth itself, just rape women.
The greatest contempt for women is contained within the nature of male desire. Women who find fault with the contempt and so on of misogyny are innocent to that. This is something that anyone who is a man will have memory of, but the fact that, despite in their childhood years being troubled by the maliciousness, dishonesty, and selfishness of women, and knowing that there is no animal as unpleasant as woman, their eyes are completely blinded by lust from
I would argue blacks are worse than women, but I know it's a close competition.
time of their sexual awakening, when they later marry and once again discover the maliciousness, dishonesty, and selfishness of women. They mistake it for a great discovery that they have made for the first time in their lives. Because they have completely forgotten their previous memories seems to me to be pointless trouble. Animals mostly deal with this more effectively. I wish human beings as well had a more proper mating period. I believe that generally women are low class and men are high class, because I think that men created culture by focusing the energies left over from the reproductive function. Ants marry in the air, and after mating the male, who has fulfilled his role, immediately falls. If the essential role of the male were in reproduction, then it would have been better for men, imitating the ants, to die immediately after the first copulation. Omni animal post coitum trist. All animals are sad after copulation. This surely is the remaining of the feeling of powerlessness and the traces of the premonition of death. But generally it is the norm that this sadness is little in women and intense in men, and human culture was born of the excess of these emotions, of this sadness, of this feeling of powerlessness and premonition of death. Consequently,
Okay, I might be a little bit too pea-brained to understand this. Because I know he's talking in philosophical terms. But in the human, sex feels good, and then in the end, you're just tired? Like, men are just tired? It's not sadness. Although, I guess you could see, I guess he is in a weakened state. He's easy prey. It kind of is like death then, in its own way, because it can easily lead to death because he's tired, he's weak, he just put out, easy target overall. So he might not be dead. I wouldn't call it sadness though. Usually it's actually a good feeling, but regardless, it is weakness. Like I can see that now that I'm like thinking out loud. Like, what do you mean sadness? It feels good. It's a nice relief. Lots of guys are like happier afterwards. Women, on the other hand, aren't tired. Well, like unless you make your orgasm multiple times, but that's not very common because women don't know how to orgasm and men don't have to make women orgasm. It's a problem, but that's a different topic for a different day. Now I get what he's saying. Afterwards, a lot of time it's kind of an empty feeling, sometimes tinged with regret. Hmm. I don't know. I'm not a man, so I don't know how it feels after I come. After I impregnate a woman. There are many men that have one night stands with a hand beast and immediately regret it. I mean, yes, but then again, men usually don't have one night stands anymore. Maybe back like 20 years ago, but that's definitely sadness there. Thankfully, I don't know if I say thankfully because it causes its own problems, but you're not actually procreating with her because of birth control. Though I personally see that's actually a bad thing for one night stands. I don't like that kind of culture. I think we should get rid of it. I think we should get rid of birth control. And women should be less sluts, and men should not be making sluts either. Technically, we need aftercare too. Yeah, that's where you get like the head scratches, like you know, like and the cuddles, and like massages and different things like that. That's the good thing. I love doing that. Hmm. Among a lot of Eastern philosophy has a strong distaste of the physical world, believing the spiritual world's form are pure and righteous. I guess that's fair. I mean, I'm obviously Western, and I haven't really dug into Eastern philosophy. I mean, ideally, if you're with someone you love and she's a complete bitch, it should feel pretty good to be tired next to the person. Yeah, like that's technically what it's supposed to be, in the Western world specifically, right? You're supposed to afterwards, like he's tired, cuddles, head scratches, kisses. After a little bit of cleanup, obviously, like it's supposed to be a nice, wholesome period.
not just the arts, but culture itself is naturally a luxury, because therein lies the basis of the consciousness of the artist as superfluous. To worry that one is superfluous is as good as worrying that one is a human being. Men are left alone. In the wake of pleasure, without the premonition of pregnancy, and without the hope of raising children, they are left alone. This solitude was the womb of productive culture. Consequently, women are incapable of tasting the original experience of art and culture more broadly. In tandem with the progress of culture, those who bore innately this consciousness of solitude are born as artists and become specialists in art. When I meet women aspiring artists, particularly actresses and singers, I cannot but rack my brain over why they do not notice that in women, genius is theoretically impossible. In all aspects, women do not know woman. They end up having to be taught everything about themselves by men.
Yes.
There are many men who have a taste for teaching, so they get along somehow. But like someone who...
Oh my. Okay. I might be going past this point here for a second, but the epidemic of female teachers needs to be addressed. We need to stop having female teachers. There's just like between I know it's because of women being in the workforce, and then they naturally drift to more nurturing roles like nursing and teaching because you're interacting with kids, you're helping people out, that kind of deal, without having the physical labor to go about it. Um, and but it still needs to stop because women are not good teachers. Like when it comes to structure and handling multiple different kids. They're meant to be handling their own kids at home. Being a homemaker and being the point of authority with your own kids and homeschooling them is the correct way because your kids are supposed to respect you and you respect them and love them because they're their own kids. Other kids don't really listen well, and women can't handle stress as well either. And so having them be in a building for 8 hours a day, handling a bunch of different wily for kids with all different backgrounds and demographics, unfortunately, leads to all sorts of different problems. And they're not actually fit for that role. They're fit to take care of their own kids, which goes back to the whole why are you. The whole aspect of daycare in general is insane because you, the woman, are giving up your kid to be raised by another woman so you can go work a job, but that the whole reason why the woman's at daycare is because that's her job. Like you just stay at home and raise your own? Huh. Like it's a ridiculous concept. I mean, actually have men are much better with structure and stability, which is why fathered homes are so important. Single motherhood is such an epidemic in itself. It causes so many issues psychologically with the kids. They need that stability, and having male teachers is important. To address this point more specifically, yes, it's like the stance of the whole everything a woman says was originally stated by a man. 100%. Everything that I'm saying right now is because I listen to men. I grew up watching fucking Sargon of Akkad since like 15, 16 years old. And I'm still still a fan of him to this day, right? Um, and even though I disagree with him at some points and might be a bit further right than him, though he's coming around and different things. Everything that I know is because of men, because men are once again are the intellectuals. They are the philosophical ones. They are the researchers. They are the geniuses. They actually take the time to do the arduous work physically and mentally to handle the world's problems at hand. I just happen to be fucking weird and like these kinds of things myself, but at the end of the day, I'm still just listening to men. I'm not doing the research myself. I'm listening to a man right now explain how women are awful and what a real misogynist is, for fuck's sakes. Like, it's just how it is. And that's okay. But it's also why you shouldn't listen to women. Because you just be better off listening to men. Includes me too. Go listen to men instead of me. I only offer you our titties, and they're pixelated anyways. Ah la 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 la. See, this is your heartfelt entertainment right here. Heartfelt entertainment right here at your service. What women do you think are worth listening to in your opinion? Any recommendations? None of them. Don't listen to women. We would, but you keep talking. Well, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm just a yapper. Just can't shut up. Thank you, Beard Master. Your name cut off there. My apologies. I think the sadness he is explaining is just a small drop in testosterone that we have after we're empty. That would make sense. That would actually make sense. Okay. Okay. I thank you, Furnace, for the $10 ideas. Supplemental has anyone recommended to you the Hails? There's 2 songs that are rather fun. It's here on YouTube. No one has. But if you, no, yeah, at me and stream ideas with the link, I'll probably listen to it off stream. I do want to get to the flight from Syracuse sometime today, and we have less than a minute left in this vid. So
Has forgotten that they just put on their glasses and is searching frantically for them. Women are always forgetting that they are wearing the glasses of woman, at times deliberately. There is no sight so impatient, and there is no spectacle so uninteresting, unamusing, and enraging. I refuse to associate with people who lack such insight. Try associating with them carelessly. It is obvious that they will fly into a rage and ask where you hid their glasses. But when women have clearly understood their nature, they will likely be something very different from woman. Discourse on Misogyny, first published by Shinsho in August of the 29th year of the Showa era, 1954 AD.
that was definitely worth the $20. Thank you for bribing me to listen to that. That was amazing. That was absolute fucking peak right there. 10 out of 10 recommend. I can't believe a femboy was right. Uh, oh, here we go. I will. Hey, let me share the link here. For the video if you want to listen to yourself without having a woman giggling in the background over the truth, but also like a lot of the stuff he says is absurd in the modern age, but it's all true. It cannot be implemented in 2026. Maybe in 2050, instead of having like 2030, ESG World Economic Forum, you'll own nothing and be happy type of deals. By 2050, we'll have a new funny mustache man rise up and put women back in their place and repeal the 19th. That can be our goal here. That can be our goal instead. Yeah. And thank you, Browski, for the $10 dose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Day 6, kick chat name invisible professional streamer, by the way, putting this towards the FNAF as punishment. Kill yourself. Listen, as a good woman, I'm going to avoid responsibility and accountability once again. I reached out to Trium yesterday about fixing the kick chat, and then we started talking about other things, and then we didn't fix the kick chat. So, yeah. So, he was supposed to fix the kick chat, and he didn't, so blame Trium. He said he'll do it today. Anyways. Thank you, Sutra Solus, for the $20 dose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, I'm Molten to catch your stream earlier this week, so I want to send you congrats for finally hitting partner with Kick. If you don't mind earmarking the Zono for Silent Hill Fund, a Warm Body Squad represent. Hell yeah. I will throw your $20 shekels to Silent Hill 2. And thank you for the Kick partner. Thank you guys for making me Kick partner, finally. I say finally, like, oh, like, finally, ooh, a bad day. But no, I'm actually really excited to be Kick partner. So once again, if you want to support the channel and listen to women when you shouldn't be listening to women, go be a warm body on Kick. Literally, just show up, be a lurker. Don't even have to fucking chat. Just exist and watch the stream on Kick. And I get paid. It's fantastic. It's literally a great fucking system. I don't know how they're getting. I don't know how they're not bankrupt. I'm not complaining. So yeah, be a warm body. A woman's right. Cooking, cleaning, getting slammed, baby making, co-raising children via feminine strength. Yes. Yes. Beat women. I like listening to women VTubers because it feeds my instinct to provide, and that extends to helping women to stop being retarded by interacting with those that are aware that society has been brainwashing them into hating men. I mean, hey, if it helps make you feel better, then I'm definitely not complaining. It's obviously in my favor. Although women are still evil, so do watch out for those, including me. But yeah, we just need to get women out of politics. We need to get women out of society. Let's put them in the kitchen and beat them. Thank you, Crucified, for the Crucifixed. Sorry, For the $10 videos, thank you, thank you, thank you. To play Devil's Advocate, 2 Timothy 1:5 and 3:14 through 17 mentions Saint Timothy learning from his mother and grandmother, who were probably taught by their husbands, as Paul said in 1 Corinthians 14:35. Well, I feel like what Paul says in the Corinthians kind of defeats what Timothy said instead, because they are learned by they're taught by their husbands, which is a good thing, right? Like women should listen to men and then pass down those teachings to their sons, but also the men should also listen to men and therefore pass down those teachings as well. I mean, because I mean, the hold back the misogyny for 30 seconds here. Men and women do need to work together. They have two different roles. They're completely different biologically. They have two different roles to play when it comes to raising children, and they're both essential. And they need to work together to actually raise a proper, stable, and functional child. At least in the Western world. Third world, but by biologically being black, they're literally non-functional. But that's a different story. There. Uh, so I mean, you do need a man and a woman. I know, controversial take. Only one man and one woman should be able to raise kids. I know, so spicy. Um, uh, Paul wrote both those books, lol. I don't remember what Paul exactly wrote, other than Corinthians. And then I know he did a couple other things because Paul did a lot. Paul's like, depending on what kind of a Gnostic atheist Christian theory you want to believe, um you can make the argument that Paul actually helped reform the church to be more palatable to the pagans back in the day. And it's not, some would argue he's not actually even real Christianity, but I don't subscribe to that faith personally myself. But that is a game theory I remember hearing a long time ago, probably from the Bible Reloaded, actually. Probably. If I'm thinking about my atheist YouTubers I used to watch, it probably was the Bible Reloaded that I remember hearing that from. Or Armor Skeptic, one of the two. Those were my two favorite atheist YouTubers. Um Oh, and thank you, I'm gonna butcher your name. Karo Kanojo for the raid. Welcome in, our raiders. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I hope you had a good stream, but thank you again for the raid. Oh, mods already shouted him out or her out. I don't know them. It's the what's your preferred pronouns? Is it E-I-I-O? Uh, okay, I'm sorry. Um, but thank you for the raid regardless. Welcome in, Raiders. We were just learning how to be a good misogynist. From an honorary Aryan.
Discourse on misogyny.
Yuko Mishima here. And yapping about that. I remember that before shit got weird. Yeah. We don't. The Bible Reloaded kind of fell off the wagon a few dozen times and tumbled down tumbled down the road. Hmm. But I promised for like a week now to react to Flight from Syracuse Decline of the West video. And so we will do that. Because it was put in my stream suggestions like, well, when it was originally released. And then I got taken down because of copyright. So this video itself apparently isn't spicy enough for YouTube not to like it, which is good. I'm glad. I wanted to watch this video. But yeah, as he mentions, real due to copyright issues. Because he uses game soundtracks for his stuff, and apparently there was a problem with one of the game soundtracks. So the whole "they cry on pain as they copyright strike you" is pretty great. There. So yes, this had 4 gem rolls in my stream suggestions, which is high honor and praise. But it is Flight from Syracuse, so I'm not surprised. He makes great vids, and I was worried that he was dead. Like, unironically, I remember like a few times mentioning being like, is he still alive? Because his last video was 8 months ago. 8 fucking months ago. And then, well, actually, there was another video as well, but it did get taken down. I can't remember if it was before I pity both sides can't lose, or after it. Regardless, it's been fucking ages, so I was just like, oh no, was his channel just like completely obliterated, more or less, because of his vids? But I'm glad that he's back. So, enough yapping, okay? Actually, one last statement here, okay? As a VTuber, I am legally required to react to Shu. As a Chodette, I am legally required to watch Flightform Syracuse here. So, let's get this party started.
Nostalgia is a feeling extremely prevalent in recent decades. It's an emotion as old as humanity itself, so its existence isn't anything out of the ordinary. But the problem is, when you analyze what people say, that everything is so political now, that people were just happier back then, and that kids these days are crazy, the data worryingly seems to support every single statement of downgrade. A direct worsening of the state of affairs compared with a past frame of reference. Something that leads many to claim that the West has
Hold on, wait a second. Wait a second. I gotta appreciate. I'm pretty sure this is done on purpose. The word downgrades in the background and you put the pictures over it, but it looks like NGR. This is why I like Flightform Syracuse. Also, his Black Fatigue and Indian Fatigue videos both got taken down. Yeah, I know there's a video that got taken down. I couldn't remember which one. I believe I watched both of them. Like, I know I watched both of them because he's an absolute amazing YouTube channel. But I didn't realize both got taken down. Or at least I didn't remember both got taken down. Early onset dementia and everything. Anyway, NGR.
The West has fallen, a sentiment stemming from a dissatisfaction with where the modern world is headed. The feeling of having the rug of prosperity pulled out from right under your feet, being robbed of your identity and having to endure what is described as normal, yet doesn't feel like it should. But by far the worst experience is being tortured with the snapshots of how great the West used to be, with design offering us a good example. In the 20th century, a style known as airbrush art started making rounds in the commercial world. It featured vibrant colors and dreamlike glamour with soft, hyper-realistic surfaces. From more elaborate to everyday objects, you were being sold dreams and visions. The ads had immense cultural influence.
Moon Man!
Way past their limited scope, and they themselves felt like they were crafted, not manufactured. While the 2020s are defined by different iterations of the corporate soft style in use by every public or private bureau.
Corporate Memphis. He's smart. He'll probably talk about Corporate Memphis. But since I'm a faux intellectual woman, once again, Corporate Memphis is a psyop created by Facebook, by Mark Zuckerberg themselves, to try to what's the right wording for this? Basically try to bring in more equity and equality, both terms, both equity and equality, into the space to promote diversity and inclusion. And by making everyone seem formless and blobless instead of well defined, so everyone is equal that way. And there's no actual true connection there. It's meant to demoralize. It was done literally on purpose. It's called Corporate Memphis. It's great.
Bureaucratic monolith. The design combines blobby cost-cutting minimalism with ESG score increasing racial composition, so it's not hard to notice the immediate downgrade. An example of an elaborate, soulful and optimistic style being replaced by a mediocre, gay and simple design. A classic trope. This Roman coin is from the times of Augustus, what many consider to be the peak of the empire. Almost 5 centuries later, this is the depiction of Anthemius, who ruled 4 years before the collapse of the whole enterprise.
I'm pretty sure he and I have the same timeline, because I remember that tweet being like 3 months ago. I saw that, being like, oh wow, that's fucking tragic. Bookmark this.
We can see a direct link between the deterioration in art and the decline of the whole state. The art style was becoming more abstract, rounded and simple. It represented the subjugation of design into a more utilitarian role, a sign of cutting costs. By this time, you might have even forgotten what progress actually looks like. From the search for El Dorado to the exploration of the African interior and culminating in the American frontier, the white men loved venturing into the unknown at the prospect of a better life and glory. At that time, you'd be a fool not to believe in the very tangible concept of progress, something that
Sorry. He puts like very fast images up on here. Which is just not a bad editing style. It's actually quite in depth. Actually add it all together. But a 3-week growth. So it went from, okay, I'm doing frame by frame. So this is, 1989, and actually some decent houses and farms, but just typically looks like, middle of nowhere type of things. But this is Oklahoma City. 3-week growth, and just houses just popped up just like this in sheds and tents. But like not just the tents, but like actual houses. A lot of like you can see in the background. There's more like a typical addition right there. But even then, just like regular wooded houses just being propped up within 3 weeks. We can't do this shit anymore. A lot of it's because of overregulation, but also the skills are just gone. Men don't know how to work with wood, and not exactly men's fault specifically. It's just part of the modern age, feminization of men that's been imposed upon them. But fuck, man, you would never see something like this. It takes years just to build an edition with actual professional construction companies, and even then, there's too fucking many of them. Ugh. Ugh. Thank you, V Chong, for the $10 videos. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When you have DEI, it doesn't work at all. You need more meritocracy. When you have meritocracy, but people accused of either nepotism or them being Asians, be stealing their jobs. I mean, meritocracy is actually not a bad thing, but it only works within whites, because all other cultures, or all actually demographics, I should say, not cultures, but cultures and demographics do go hand in hand. Do actually use nepotism. Whites are the ones that actually created meritocracy. The rest of them, not so much. Which is why you see a bunch of Indians overtaking all the tech sectors like Google, Apple, well, YouTube, but even though it's also technically under Google as well. Different AI companies too. There's a list of all the different companies been taken over by Indians, and it's just absolutely tragic.
believe in the very tangible concept of progress, something that nowadays seems harder to perceive as all the frontiers have been explored and milked dry. The main driving force of the West shifted from tangible products to shares, options, indices, MBSs, derivatives, prediction markets, and prediction markets on prediction markets. All increasingly inceptive layers to make money off of things that already exist without actually having to produce too much new stuff. Slowly, the financial system has outgrown the actual industries that create material products, as it became more profitable to speculate than to make real things. An ominous sign that we might be flying too close to the sun.
The illusion has become real, and the more real it becomes, the more desperate they want it.
And the minimalism is the bastard child of this make-believe fake economy. We are pushing the design language to the limits of functionality, and here's a mistake most people make. They assume the empty facades, the flat art and touchscreens are a stylistic choice, a sign of refinement, while in reality minimalism is just an answer to how do we make something cheaper and how do we make it different from the previous thing. And it's not the case that there is no demand for beautiful things. The Western civilization has traded its soul away, chasing the increasingly narrow profit margins. These are placeholders existing in an economic shantytown, temporary slopjects that were built just to keep up with the ever-changing, ever-illusionary market. We are experiencing spiritual poverty as objects that used to fulfill their function and look good are now only reduced to their base utility. But in the modern world...
So I had a tweet that popped off like a week or so ago, because it was talking like the Harry Potter new trailer came out for the TV show, which is ridiculous that they had to have the Harry Potter TV show happen, but it's unrelated. But a lot of people were complaining about how the filtering and lighting works within the TV show, how dark and gray and colorless it is. And I made a tweet talking about how it's done intentionally to demoralize. And that did surprisingly well. But hey, not complaining about that aspect of things. But a lot of people in my replies were talking about how it's not actually done to demoralize, it's not a conspiracy theory, just because it's cheaper, it's easier for the buildings to sell, blah 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 blah. Which is essentially his point right now. And the thing is, I don't actually necessarily disagree with it, right? It does make sense that it is significantly cheaper to mass produce. But the fact that the soul is dying is done on purpose, then that this is exactly what it is. This is literally sucking the soul and creativity and the brightness out of everything. Yes, is it cheaper this way for mass producing, for reselling buildings, um, just or for just whatever the case is, just in general, this minimalism aspect of things? Yes, but they're being cheap because they have no spirit. They want to they have no desire to make grand works of art because that would inspire more people to think. And they don't want the competition there. They want you just to eat the slappa, just consume the corpo thing. Just like Corporate Memphis was intentionally made by Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook to become some equality fucking mass blob, so to help push DI and ESG narratives. The same thing with minimalism being spread to everybody else. It's another outstretched aspect of this. Exactly. Two things can be true at once. It's cheaper, but it's also done to demoralize and to make people just want to just consume product and not think of anything. Because if they take any inspiration or have any motivation to go about the rest of their life and change anything, then well, they're gonna either create competition, or they're not gonna exactly be good wave slaves. It's done intentionally on purpose.
Even bare-bones functionality is sometimes too much to ask for. Tech companies are replacing competent native workers with elite human capital from Bangalore, India to save on costs. The side effects are self-evident. Obnoxious monetization and bloatware litter the landscape, part of what I call PowerPoint improvements tailored towards satisfying the shareholders only. Manufacturers of real commodities are shrinking and enshittifying their products as an offering to the god of endless growth. We have to ask ourselves the question whether stripping the design of its beauty, devaluing product quality, and employing cheaper workers really is growth or just civilizational cannibalism, something our elites might have a predisposition for anyways, alongside worshipping demonic deities, one of them being the gross domestic product. GDP is the main metric
Line go up, Goy! Line must always go up!
by which we judge the concept of growth. It measures transactions on production goods in the economy. The problem is, over time the actual formula by the means of reclassifying transfers of existing wealth as added value and shuffling the definitions of what counts as investments has developed an optimistic bias that in many cases treats speculation on existing assets the same way as actual production. What worsens already inaccurate metrics is the consumer price index, the calculation behind the official inflation numbers, which also fell victim to subtle tune-ups that mysteriously failed to capture the fastest inflating assets. The modern economy is an example of how value creation differs from value extraction, a shift from the archetype of the pioneer, tradesman, and industrialist to the domination of finance. The verdict is simple. What we see as growth might mostly be fake and gay. So far we've lost a lot of the beauty of old and seen most products sacrifice their quality and functionality to fuel economic momentum. It's a tragic tale of how curiosity, aspiration, and expansiveness degenerated into overt recklessness, blind ambition, and plain greed. But the more pressing matter is, how much more of the West are we willing to leverage away for endless economic gains? We're not the same West we once were.
The answer is all of it. The elites don't fucking give a shit. They're like, they know they have a short amount of time on Earth. They really will sacrifice literally everything for the most material gains that they can get within their lifetime, no matter what it is. They don't have any investment into the future. They don't even care about their own kids, which kids are usually supposed to be the incentive to care about the future, right? Your legacy. You want to try to provide the most for them. But as a lot of people discuss, boomers just say, fuck you. I'm not going to give you anything with my wealth. I'm going to sell off my properties and go on endless cruises for the rest of my, fleeting life. Instead, they will sacrifice everything for the material gain that they can get, their wealth that they have, just because they can. And it goes back to the lack of soul as well. How even what we talked about when watching that Mishima, I think that's what his name. Um, I know we just watched it like half an hour ago, but I forgot his name. That guy. Talking about the destruction of like the West this way, which I guess it makes sense since this whole video is about the decline of the West as well. Where it's all done intentionally to weaken men.
Decline.
Out of the way, Goyam. You're changing tax policies to suit the middle class.
Listen, Mr. Shapiro, all this economic strain is lowering the white birth rate.
That's exactly the point. We want Goyam working as much as possible. Souls don't matter. GDP per capita does. When will you learn?
He'll probably address it. I mean, we're 7 minutes into a 40-minute video. I should probably let it play a little bit more before I pause, but I want to point out because he was talking about the line must go up and souls don't matter, and he had the woman TikTokers dancing here, and it's just I hate feminism with such a burning fucking passion. Imagine getting psyoped and sacrificing yourself and your future, because what people don't seem to like understand. And now listen, I am the definition of a midwit. Okay, I am like I can recognize patterns, and like that's about it. Okay, like I am not very smart, but and I don't know money, I don't know numbers, the math is hard, all that fun stuff. But even I can recognize and understand supply and demand. When you magically overnight double the workforce by allowing women to be have jobs, all of a sudden wages just deflate. They decrease. They fucking snowball down that hill like a goddamn fucking avalanche with how bad it is. Because now the demand for jobs has increased, but the supply of them has not. And so therefore increases competition. And that's also a huge reason why college degrees are also worthless as well. Because they had to create a bunch of fake jobs to give to these women. Because what can women really do? They're not going to go into any physical, right? They're not going to be the trash collectors or the plumbers. They're not smart enough, as we discussed with the misogyny video. Like they're not geniuses, so they're not going to go into STEM and be an engineer or anything like that. They had to have some paper pushing office job. And the best they can be is nurses, but that's a whole fucking slut factory in itself. So that's a whole different story right there. So then they could take the roles of teachers, which is a massive mistake because women don't have the stability to actually and competence to handle such a stressful job. And then it comes to this lowest common denominator, especially as demographics get worse. And so they get the Jew daycare, where they're like these social media managers, or just email recipients. That's why you see these TikTok girlies back in 2020 being day in the life as a Facebook worker. And like she gets there at 9 a.m., gets a breakfast immediately and this coffee. And it's not till like 10 a.m. or 10:30 that she's actually like sitting down and answering these said emails. But then like an hour and a half later, she goes and gets a break, and gets a little snack. And then like an hour after that, she actually gets a lunch. I don't know how these girls aren't fucking fat. And then they answer more emails and go to more meetings. And then they go, at the end of the day, they go into the little playroom and play ping pong and air hockey and whatever the case is. Or go to the gym, because a lot of them do have gyms, which is like only thing that I'm actually like relatively okay is with roughly. At least it gets them active in a way, but like it under the desk treadmill works too, but regardless. There. And then sometimes they can even eat their dinner there as well, and they just go home. It's like rats in a fucking cage, little mice, just in this little utopia there. They don't have to worry about anything, or they're not actually doing anything. And I get that's like the big companies like like Facebook and Google that these TikToks are coming from, and not every single corporate job is that grand when it comes to benefits there, but the lack of work that actually occurs is still the fucking same. They're just existing just to exist, just to make the line go up when they could be at home and raising kids. And on top of that, any jobs that actually do count, they're stealing from men, because men should be in accounting. Men, there are office jobs that men should actually have that require management and various things. Well, they don't get it because so you're already getting, kicked out from getting a college degree for women and DEI purposes, which has been happening for decades, long before DEI was officially like a term in policy. Leaves nothing for the fucking white men, and so then we wonder, like, but line must go up. Why aren't we having kids? Line must go up. But civilization's dying. Line must go up. Welcome to Decline of the West. Thank you, Fluffy Tail Toucher, for the 5 Get This Subby Bubbies over on Kick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's really generous of you, especially since I know you're new. Not to oust you, but it's really generous of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Number go brr, yes. Exactly. And thank you, Deadpool Kate, for the $5 dues over on YouTube. But if the GDP goes up, we might be able to pay that 50-year-old mortgage. Maybe. Oh fuck, that I know I have early onset dementia, so I forget things that I even talk about on stream. And I fucking hate the fact that I forgot about the 50-year mortgage. That's, oh my, probably one of the, okay, worst might be a bit of exaggeration. But it really does kind of feel like one of the worst things Trump has done is a fucking 50-year mortgage. Yes, be a wage slave and be in debt for even more of your life, your entire life. Like, okay, the economy is so fucking bad that the average homeowner age is not until like late 30s, okay? But let's say hypothetically you're lucky and you can get your house at 25, which is nigh impossible in the modern age. But hey, some guys are able to make that happen, so good for them. And you get a 50-year mortgage. You don't get that paid off until you're 75, and you're basically fucking dead. You got maybe, 5 years of retirement and enjoy being debt-free from your 50-year mortgage? Like, yeah, the goal is to pay it off sooner, but sooner for a 50-year mortgage is 40, and so now you're 65 instead, and you're just hitting Social Security age, and that's, of course, the Social Security still fucking exists. Hasn't been completely looted by the Browns by then. Because right now the boomers can enjoy Social Security because they're the only ones actually hitting retirement, and the rest of the white people are actually funding it. But once all the white people are gone because the boomers are dead and completely outside the workforce, and there's no whites to go back into the workforce as well because nobody's having fucking kids, and the Browns are just leeching off with the UBI that exists within America, well, I don't think there's going to be any Social Security at all, and you still have a 50-year mortgage to pay off. Anyway, we're going back to the video, I guess.
But before we continue, what does decline even mean? It is a state in which a civilization starts encountering more problems than it has solutions to, leading to a cascading effect that, regardless of the most earnest and effective action taken to prevent it, seemingly never resolves the inner tensions. We look at past societies as petrified organisms befallen by some great calamity. Prolonged droughts, volcanic explosions, earthquakes, plagues, and the overexploitation of land typically spring to mind. Issues that haven't become any less irrelevant today, but what defines decline is primarily human activity. So what about Western civilization? Obviously it's constituted by white people, but which ones? And for how long? Maybe it's Western Christianity, or the numbers of shekels per goy. What I know is that the West is united by the problems it's facing, with culture offering a mirror into that dysfunctional world. Every civilization
I want to make a point, but I'm going to hold my tongue, so I just made a 5-minute point, but I really want to make a point, but I'm going to hold my tongue.
Has its own founding myth. Honor, perseverance, and a struggle for freedom are the typical themes adorning it, but in the case of the modern world, that imperative value is progress. No, not this one. The new definition. The West is supposed to be on a mission to bring equality, social justice, and movies about strong black women to the world. So what progress have we made since the end of the Second World War? Initially, the pictures fell under Hays Code. This meant they were forbidden to touch upon subjects deemed too sexual, controversial, or obscene. As you can probably tell, these regulations didn't last.
Okay, not the point I was going to make 30 seconds ago, but I really fucking hate race mixing. I hate the propaganda. There's a strong argument that it's just done on purpose for DEI because in ESG because they can check off the woman code and the black code, right? At the same time by having it happen, and that is true. But technically, race mixing propaganda has becoming more popularized since like the 60s, since Hays Codes ended, and it's completely done on purpose, and it's all by the same tiny fucking hats. Like For 2% of the population, they sure have a large amount of control of these massive institutions that affect culture and society. A little bit, suspicious. I'm a little bit suspicious here. Totally not my hand rubbing at all whatsoever.
Soon the movies were making fun of the stiff traditional values of old, presenting more sexually prominent themes, and even dabbling in drugs. This period of reasonable woke was the climatic optimum for writing and filming technique. The giant that was American cultural influence exists courtesy of the more blunt visions of the world and the increasingly controversial writing. Soon the movie industry developed a liking for making critiques of society, something that will become a permanent fixture and a premonition of things to come. In the mundane and absurd nature of the late 20th century, nihilism is embraced because nothing matters. Except black people do, dumbass. Soon we enter the woke hell of today. Racism becomes the most cardinal sin. Anti-white revenge porn becomes the norm. The white guy is always either clueless or evil. The black guy always gets the white women. Is this what progress looks like? For the bad things white people did, you should be ashamed, while the cool things were done by a black person. The casting is terrible because physiognomy and race are no longer real. The frailest, fattest, and least aesthetically fitting people are playing roles completely unsuitable for their looks. The modern white person is raised in the spirit of the Holocaust, the slave trade, and colonialism, conditioned to see the victims as more worthy of praise just because they lost. A complete inversion of values required for survival. In the animal kingdom, when you remove the threat of predators and material scarcity, the organisms will often start undergoing a process of dysgenic selection. A lack of direct selective pressures leads them to develop traits that would make them incapable of survival in normal circumstances. One such trait is the vanishing of wariness for predators, something that seems to perfectly define the political advocacy of the modern leftist, a maladapted product of unseen before prosperity leading to naivety and complacency to danger. When you look at many of them, you'll realize maybe they're subconsciously trying to eliminate themselves from the gene pool anyways.
Man. It's so hard not to black pill, knowing that we're at the end of society, at least modern society. Which in a way is kind of a good thing, right? Because then we can finally start anew. But also, human lifespans are fleeting. And even though I might be a zoomer, the chances of society fixing itself in my lifetime is not likely. Chances are, for the next few centuries, there's going to be a period of darkness again, like after the Roman Empire fell. That's the more realistic thing. It's not going to be my lifetime. It's not going to be my kids' lifetime. It's not going to be my grandchildren's lifetime that they're going to be able to have a golden age once again. It's going to be, at least that's how human history's always worked. But then again, we've advanced so fast in such a short amount of time that maybe it's possible that the corruption of empires can happen at a faster basis again. But I feel like that might just be cope. I feel like that just might be cope. I mean, like the Roman concrete, for example, right? Like that's a good example of a lost technology that we don't have today. Now, supposedly we figured it out like recently, but it was more recent. But I don't know how true that actually is. But even then, even if we did figure it out, it's still recent compared to how many centuries since the Roman Empire fell, right? Like that it took to figure out how to make concrete that actually gets stronger as it ages. I just I don't have I'm trying really hard not to Fanta black pill knowing that we're at the end times. But we have to carry on because the fact that our ancestors were able to carry on, right, even after the Roman Empire fell and the Dark Ages, which actually weren't even that bad, all things considered. It's called the Dark Ages, but they were decent times. That they were able to bring back the Renaissance, and they were able to survive. They were able to carry on. They were able to create greatness, and now we're finally at the decline as well. So surely we can bounce back, right? We have to just stay strong, keep on carrying on, as the boomers say. and try to fix things slowly but surely. Just take the brown pill, the mall? No, I'm not taking the fucking brown pill. Thank you, the Omnilink for the $2 reduce. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The black pill's a suppository, not worth it. Lol. Yeah, like black pilling is not the solution. Like it's a good like once you give up, it's actually officially over. So until you so if you just never give up, it's never over. You can just keep on fighting. But it's still depressing just to think about. Thank you to the chickens for the $2 dues. My 27-month 401k now consists of dry food and ammo. That's not a bad thing, actually. I do think to myself, man, should I actually get into like the doomsday like hoarding of like resources with like ammo, dry food, water gallons, different things like that? I'm like, should I? I feel like part of my like I should. But then I'm like, well, maybe I'm going too far. But then, watch videos like this, and I'm like, maybe that's not far enough, actually. If anyone tells you all hope is lost, or probably a blank, yeah. Well, I'm not. Listen. I know we can be a little bit anti-Semitic here, chat, and that's not exactly a very good thing to do. Okay, we don't really like the anti-Semitism here. Oy vey, indeed. But I'm not actually Jewish, and so therefore, don't give up. Really hard not to, but don't give up. Yes, Jews do rock. Never forget, chat. Jews rock. We love Jews.
Many studies seem to agree that leftists are on average less attractive than their right-wing counterparts, this being exponentiated by prevalent mental illness. It doesn't make any side right or wrong on its own, or deny the existence of interesting-looking right-wingers, but it explains the leftist hatred towards beauty. A good case study is Zoran Mamdani's wife. Her art, apart from being staunchly anti-Western, also reduces humans to look only as good as she does, not one level above her own looks. It reflects a feeling of inferiority often seen with non-white women comparing themselves with whites. The leftist sense of beauty is built off of a hatred for everything that might signal white people being healthy, beautiful, and powerful. Their moral compass is forever that of a middle school teacher trying to shelter the less proficient kids from the excellence of the outperformer. They want to—
Well, even statistically, like, white people are the most attractive race. Like, if you, like, the dating apps have done this, which is probably not the best statistics. Oh, they should have done. But, like, everyone's on dating apps nowadays because no one's actually meeting and talking to each other IRL. And, like, statistics have shown, like, everyone's attracted to the whites. Like, everyone wants, although, non-white women want the white men, and all the non-white men want the white woman. Like, they inherently find them more attractive. Also, they have better genetics, too, but there's also that benefit, too. But yes, like the whites are just inherently the most attractive race. And usually people are actually biologically attracted within their own race as well. But based off how many nuns really want to get with white women, to the point where they talk about raping their sisters and their mothers when they get into problem discourse, and based how many black men try to go after white women too to get that chocolate genes mixed. Yeah, it's not just simply like, dating statistics based off these apps. You can actually see it IRL in real life where these nuns are trying to go after whites because they are inherently the more attractive race. But then obviously Asian women are attractive too, especially the white men. But the Japanese, it's mostly the Japanese. This is one thing that's always never talked about when it comes to like race mixing and passport bros trying to go after like the Asian women. It's always the Japanese, and then sometimes the Koreans, and then the ones that want the femboys go after the thighs. The Thailand femboys there, but that's a little bit of a special flavor in itself. But it's always the Japanese woman and like the Korean woman. And they never stop to think why them specifically. It's not really the Chinese. and they're very similar looks-wise genetically. No, it's the Japanese and the Koreans because they are the closest to our culture, and as possible. I wonder why that is.
Make sure no anomaly like the Western civilization ever happens again. For them, the only aesthetic option is the one with marked working black women. Classical beauty short-circuits their vision of historical victimhood being morally better, as their perception of aesthetics is a similar case of mass delusion, like when everyone agreed these things have any value at all. It's hard not to notice that our culture is suicidal. We like to make fun of how stupid animals are for being deceived into their own doom or evolving into malformed freaks, but at the end of the day, we're no better than them as a species. So at the end, we are at the intersection of resentful ugly leftism and cutthroat degenerate capitalism. We truly got the worst of the both worlds. What many call the Weimar conditions. A period after the Germans were badly humiliated in the First World War that produced an example of a society that had lost any sense of self-worth and dignity but still craved money. The mental archetype of a prostitute of whom 1920s Berlin was full. No matter the time period, a declining society at the end of the day will always be divided into those who are fine with being demeaned and humiliated and those to whom this is nothing short of rape. Unfortunately,
The only good thing about Weimar is that Weimar conditions bring about Weimar solutions. I just hope that Weimar solution comes sooner than later.
and this is not an endorsement but the law of history, every action has its equal and opposite reaction.
It's a good edit.
The Chud is an archetype that figures very prominently in online culture. He's broadly defined as a right-wing, ugly, resentful loser who projects his own rejection from society as a misdiagnosis of societal collapse. The thing is, unlike the leftist who is both ugly and wrong, the Chud is ugly but actually gets his predictions right. You wanna know what the definition of collapse actually is? It's a meeting point of internal weakness bursting under the weight of external pressure, a dynamic explored thoroughly in Jean Raphael's Camp of Saints, published in 1973. It was a work that, as the author described, a vision. At the height of the Cold War, he made predictions that it isn't going to be nuclear mutually assured destruction that wipes the West off the map, and instead something different. He foresaw the West buckle under a tide of endless migration and made three predictions: that white people are going to try and ignore the threat until it's no longer possible, any resistance is going to be portrayed as racism, and the West is slowly going to decay into a third world shithole. After the book was released, Jean Raphael was ridiculed for his warnings and portrayed as a madman, yet 50 years later reality would prove him correct, because at the end of the day, the Chud is always right.
In 15 or 20
As nice as it sounds that the Chud is always right, I fucking wish they were fucking wrong. Like, I'd be more than happy to be wrong about, like, a lot of my takes. 'Cause that would mean things are actually better than they actually are and things are being solved. But fuck, man. Like, as the resident Zoomer here, I am kind of curious how he's able to actually predict this. I mean, looking back in hindsight, you can see the signs, right? Like the 1965 Hart-Celler Act, that was fucking suicidal as hell. And that was during the civil rights in the 60s right there. And the Cold War. So that would make the most sense. Because who would have thought this, like, endless migration was a good thing, right? Like, yes, let's bring in the third world hordes that haven't been able to make the wheel, and we have to send them thousands of millions of, actually billions of our tax dollars to feed them so they can just populate themselves, but they can't actually, they can't actually fish for themselves, teach a let's see, feed a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for life. And even if we try to teach them the fish, they still can't fucking fish. The Japanese learned that as well. The Chinese have learned that with, like, the Empire of Dust. But the West of white man still fucking tries. And if he managed to predict that, like, to be able to predict that takes immense amount of, what's the right word for it? Not just foresight, but just, I don't like, I just, that's an immense amount of power. Because right now with 2020 vision, it seems very simple. but also looking back in history, because he was labeled such a massive racist and demonized. I mean, the fucking 60s are such a goddamn mess in general. That took massive balls. There we go. Balls, that's what it's taking. There's your smart word of the day. Balls. God damn it. Enoch Powell absolutely called it in the 60s and 70s? Yes. Only a few men were able to do it, at least prominent men. But the ones that did deserve a massive amount of respect, and I fucking hate that they've been kicked out of society because of it. Once again, trying not to Vanta black pill. You can't give up. It's not over yet. But you know what is? You know what time it is instead? You know what's not black pilling? The P.E.P.E. hoodie. The P.E.P.E. hoodie is eternal. Because thank you, Deadpool Kid, for the $5 videos on YouTube. You guys have, YouTube bros have now hit the goal. I can don the P.E.P.E. hoodie. And I can make nice and warm and comfortable, so I don't have to worry about the third world savages breaking into my home and raping. Because I'm now wearing a P.E.P.E. hoodie. So thank you, chat. Thank you, YouTube bros, for hitting the goal and making that happen. The white man must reclaim his masculinity, claim his strength as a virtue, and finally feel indifferent to the spiteful mutants. Yes. Somehow. I mean, I think we're heading there, right? But the online right and the chuds, as a flight from Syracuse is talking about, and the cultural dominance that we're creating because of it is a sign that that's happening. But unfortunately, we had to vote our way out of this. And it's not going to be easy to vote our way out of this. But that's our solution. That's the solution to the matters, is obviously voting our way out of this. And until we have somebody that we can rely on to vote our way out of this, wink wink, we're just gonna have to sit back and relax. And as we watch them continue raping and pillaging and murdering us. It's great.
20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man. It is like watching a nation busily engaged in heaping up its own funeral pyre.
So far we've seen economic shortcomings and cultural decay, which lead us to societal decline. What makes an organism function are the many individual cells working together in perfect synergy. And as reflected in the microcosmos, the gravest threats come from the outside. How did we get here? After the Second World War, the narrative around race predictably changed. From now on, every human is equal and has all the mental and cultural capacities to be elevated into a civilized society. This rule was put to the test when Western governments opened the tap. Most people were against migration, while both sides of the spectrum ended up supporting it. The will of the people was circumvented and the liberal democracy was made a joke. So what do immigrants do? They are given an easy path.
Okay, sorry. I have to make this point because this is something that is deeply personal to me. Okay, as an Europhile myself, I'm American. I'm American first. I want policies in place that help benefit America first and foremost, because America's what I care about, because I'm American. But my fucking god, I want to strangle my fellow Americans on Twitter, or X, misgender it, okay? Because especially with like yesterday, for some reason, there's like this massive fighting against Americans and Europeans. It seemed like Sargon started it, but like Sargon wasn't even making like that bad of a point if you actually understand the European perspective of things. And it's like, stop it. Stop. I know I'm probably being a woman. And like, you know how like men get into fights and there's always like a woman screeching and trying to stop the fight? That's how I feel. Like, I know I'm probably just having a woman moment here. I'm just like screeching and trying to stop the fight. And I'm probably going to get like, you know, hit in the face in the process. Because I'm the dumb woman. But like, I'm still going to try regardless because I'm a dumb woman, right? Because the American versus versus Europe sentiment that's been growing is abysmal in my opinion, because and one American belief that we have is that Europe voted for mass immigration. They fucking didn't. Like, as Flight from Syracuse just pulled up the polls there, every single time immigration has come up, they voted against it. And even when immigration wasn't in part of the massive debate, they still voted for parties against it. And they've been backstabbed and betrayed every single fucking time. Every time. Like, the best example, and because it's going to be a more recent memory, is going to be the Conservatives in Britain, where I know Boris Johnson promised them Brexit, and instead he brought in the Boers leave instead. Part of Brexit was to stop immigration from the rest of Europe because the Romanians and other things were taking their jobs. It was hurting the economy that way, and then the overregulation of the EU. Well, okay, they leave Brexit in name only, or leave the EU in name only, Brexit, and then they start importing the third world. Now, technically, it's happening before Boris, so it's technically the massive waves happened under Tony Blair in the 90s, and it was technically happening before him as well. But once again, more recent example for more recent memory. Like, they voted against it every single fucking time. Every time. Labour only won because nobody voted, because the Conservatives actually made things worse for 14 years. Like, only 32% of people voted, and it was mostly the Londoners, which are also, once again, most of the third world, so voted for Labour. Like, it's an absolute fucking awful, abysmal situation that they're in. Europe didn't fucking vote for mass immigration, just like us Americans didn't vote for mass immigration ourselves either, or for legal immigration. We are facing the same problems. We are both facing the great replacement on a global scale as Westerners, America, Canada, Australia, and the entirety of Europe. And this whole America versus Europe and how going at each other's throats is a psyop. Like, I firmly believe it's a fucking psyop at this point, made by the globalists or the tiny hats. Because it's distracted us from the real issues. Oh, America is hurting Europe because they hate us. That's why they started the Iran war. No, that's not exactly the case. Okay, like that. I can understand where you're coming from, but it's not the case. Oh, Europeans won't let us use the NATO bases, so fuck them. It's a defense agreement, okay? It's not an offensive agreement. It's a defense agreement. We're not supposed to be using NATO bases except to defend Europe. Like, it's not supposed to be just used to attack Iran. Like, that's a different thing. Like, once again, more recent examples for these different for more recent times. This is all just a massive psyop, it seems to be, just to distract from the fact that we're being replaced in real fucking time by the third world. I hate it. I hate it. Americans need to stop bashing the Europeans, and the Europeans need to stop bashing Americans for what our governments do. We're both run by the global homo and the tiny fucking hats. Like, Trump was supposed to be anti-global homo, at least he was originally, but he's been controlled by the tiny hats, and the tiny hats play by both sides. So they're also part of the problem for why global homo fucking exists. Look at the World Economic Forum, look at the EU, everything else. Same fucking problems. It's our governments imposing this upon us, not the people. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. If you fall for any of the anti-American or anti-European propaganda and start going at each other's throats, I will slap you virtually.
To vote in elections, completely swaying the outcomes and being easily bribed. The voting power of the natives has been diluted. Similarly, the wages have stagnated as more people competed for the same positions at every pay grade. Universities started becoming foreign-dominated, while house and car prices rose due to increased...
Okay, I'm gonna go off for a second, because the blood moon is still risen, and this is something I deeply care about. You get what you tolerate. It doesn't matter if technically Europe has voted against it. They tolerated it. Bitch! Fuck you! Okay, I probably shouldn't be yelling at my own chat. I'm sorry. I try not to get mad at you specifically, chat. Horrible fucking mentality, though. I won't attack you specifically, but the mentality's horrible, okay? America's the exact same fucking way. Look at America! We have fucking blacks left over from slavery because we tolerated them. Look at Dearborn, Michigan, and the Muslims that have taken over that fucking city because we tolerated them. Look at California filled with Asians because we tolerated them. Look at Texas full of Indians because we tolerated them. we didn't fucking vote for this mass immigration happening in both illegal and illegal scale, but we have to tolerate it because nobody has the balls to actually stand up and do anything. And yes, that includes me. I'm a woman yapping on the fucking internet. You don't see me rising in the fucking streets and doing anything like that. But guess what? It's because we're tolerating it. Europe's the same fucking way. America's the same fucking way. Australia, Canada, with their massive Indian invasion as well. The Western world as a whole is tolerating it, which is what the author of the Camp of the States predicted. Exactly. We're in the same fucking situation. We voted for Trump. I was too young to vote for Trump in 2016, but I voted for him in 2020, and I voted for him in 2024 because I wanted to stop the mass fucking immigration happening there. And that's why I'm still holding on to Republicans, knowing full fucking well Democrats would make things a million times worse, even though Republicans are still being absolutely abysmal in this case. Because I know Democrats are going to make it worse. And I've been heavily critical of Trump since like June last year because the problems are not being solved correctly for what's actually necessary and needed here. I'm not trying to tolerate it, but if we're going to do things peacefully, this is what we have to fucking go. And yet, the H-1B program is still being expanding. We're still losing our tech sector to fucking Indians. We had a Muslim terrorist attack for like 3 fucking weeks straight in different areas once the Iran war fucking started. Like, this is me tolerating to my max fucking capacity ranting on the goddamn internet here. But it's still America having these problems. As well, because we're both facing the same fucking thing. I tried to vote my way out of this and look at where it got me. Anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to yell at you, one specific person in chat, but it's a retarded fucking mentality that you have. And not you specifically, but anybody who actually believes this goddamn shit. Okay? Like, I'm sorry. I know, I appreciate you being here in chat, chatting, supporting me, all that fun stuff. Sorry to be a little bit homosexual right now. I don't like yelling at you specifically, chat, because, you know, I do appreciate you being here. But this is something really important to me, and it just makes me so mad. Oh, it's okay, have a Snickers. Can I have a Kit Kat instead? I don't really like Snickers. Thank you, Clarky, for the $2 dues. Amal takes out the belt 2 hours later. I'm sorry, chat baby. I don't mean to get mad at you. That's basically what has happened. That's basically what has happened. Sorry, the Kit Kats were stolen. No, I heard about that happening, which is a little bit weird that Kit Kats were stolen. It makes me kind of think it's like a drug thing instead, but yeah.
Demand. So what will be the consequences for the West? A process of elite overproduction is taking place. Young men who are promised a reward for following the path of education are increasingly barred from entering the system. They feel betrayed, akin to how the Chinese intellectual elite felt in the 19th century, being told that there are no more positions open for the scholar officials after studying for years to get the career. Having no other options, they created their own state in one of the bloodiest uprisings in Chinese history. Betrayal is the worst feeling. Something the UK government really likes doing. They make the native white people feel discriminated against, uprooted, over-policed, constantly demonized and unevenly treated. The carefully crafted powder keg that is the modern UK is a failed state in the making, because in an emergency neither the rootless foreigners nor the betrayed natives will defend it. One group has no loyalty to the land, while the other might seek to reclaim it.
You mean a civil war? In England?
You know not the ways of this nation, Mr. Art, and such things do not happen here.
Up to this point, I've explained the economic soft effects of mass migration. It expands the consumer base, drives up demand for many commodities and assets, and grows the economy. At least allegedly. People from the third world are used to terrible treatment, and so they get paid less, are less likely to unionize, and the employers often have more leverage over them, a masterclass in cutting costs. The whole narrative about a talent shortage is just a lack of white people willing to degrade themselves into insects. These are the hard effects of migration, the shift of the western city into an economic termite mound. Look at these photos. They were taken in the deepest London slum at the dawn of the 20th century. They look AI generated because despite being impoverished, the area isn't filthy. A state of affairs that didn't last long. Trash lying undisposed in the streets and slum conditions consuming the city, which is filthy for the disgusting third world customs of its new inhabitants. Illegal vendors, people skipping queues, fighting age males staring you down for no reason. It gives off the vibes of an inferior civilization living in the rotting corpse of a long-gone superior one. It happened in former colonies when white people left, and it will happen when the former colonial subjects make their way to the west. The correlation between everything getting ugly and their arrival is simply too hard to ignore. The process of UKification is starting to corrupt an increasing number of countries, even those that so far stood valiantly against the tide of migration. In Canada, immigrants are slum-maxing with multiple families renting a single house. The sights you see give off the vibes of barbarians walking amongst the ruins of Rome. The landscape reflects how immigrants do not uplift the environment, but drag it down to the level of where they came from. We have regulations that stifle innovation and make life harder for the common man, all in the name of saving the environment. All the while we import people unacquainted with the concept of respecting it in the first place. There is an uncanny aesthetic of people who are straight from the 13th century walking awkwardly amongst advanced Western infrastructure, not quite knowing how to use it, looking extremely out of place. The anti-terrorist barriers might be a staple of the Christmas season, but hey, at least the street food makes the diversity worth it. Ethnic conflicts are being transplanted from the third world onto Western soil. Conflicting groups with thousands of years of cultural resentment are forced to live within a single powder keg waiting to explode. It seems like every cool thing white people build, unless you surround it with a 20-foot wall, is going to get swamped with the modern equivalent of the Bronze Age sea peoples destroying everything you hold dear. Such is the case with the internet. You see, most AI slop accounts on Facebook, Twitter or YouTube are run by third worlders. From an economic standpoint, it makes sense. Getting paid $32 per million views might sound ridiculously low, but for a guy from Dhaka, Bangladesh, that's a living wage. Someone might say, then just fix these income inequalities and the problem will be gone. First of all, gay. Second of all, there's another fix, but you're not gonna like it.
Oh, fuck. Have to admit, sometimes it is nice to just say gay and just end the conversation there. I mean, it's not what he's gonna do because this is a really in-depth video and it's so good. This is such a good fucking video, and it deserves the generals that it's got, 100%. But man, like, just some point it's just worth not just having discussions. I know it's sort of the mistake that the left has made, and it's what has led to them having the cultural decline that they've had and the rise in online right. Because back in the day, they just refused to have conversations and discussions. But as someone who has tried having conversations and discussions for 10 plus years and have gotten nowhere, it's okay. Well, fine. I'm gonna shut the door on you as well. No. Goddamn. Thank you, definitely not a Frenchman, for the $5 with those. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have you read Robert E. Hallward literature? Conan is my favorite, but Solomon Kane is also good. I am not. I am not. I'm a dumb woman. I do not read. I need to read more, but I have a laundry list of books to read, and I'm not. Yeah, it's just a very slow process. Very dumb woman. That's why you don't listen to me, or women in general. Thank you, Anime Acumen, for the $2 videos. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's Samo, back from South Dakota vacation. Well, I hope you had a nice vacation. Welcome back, welcome back. I'm not gonna lie, I've been to South Dakota before. Unless you saw, like, the Badlands, I'm not sure what you were doing in South Dakota. I guess it's family. Family's a reasonable thing. I'm just saying, like, what's in actually South Dakota that's worth seeing? Oh, but, you know, I hope you had a nice vacation regardless. I thank you, B-Chung, for the $5 videos. You know, you guys could always adopt China's immigration policy. They're pretty strict. Yeah, I fucking wish. Like, if anything, I want like Poland's immigration policy where you just fucking shoot them at the border. And Minecraft, obviously, not like actually, like, you know, yeah. Um, but I feel like that'd be a much more effective way of handling things. And then thank you definitely to Frenchin for $5 The new Mexican guy at work said I look like Mario because I got a goatee and a mustache, so I told him I'm not Italian. He was shocked. But good. You know, let them know that you don't like them. That's the best way to handle it. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt this video like halfway through, but Tiny Bladder is calling. So I will be back in 2 minutes or less because I'm a quick pisser, chat. I'm a quick pisser. I'll be right back and then we'll continue on the video. B.O.B. B.O.B. I'm back. Told him a quick pisser. In the video. Okay, I was supposed to unpause it, but I was in a different chat. Anyway, there we go.
If you spend enough time online, you might notice how there's an ongoing intellectual decline taking place. The content is more crude. I don't think at any point in history such stupid people had so much cultural impact. Even in data, the cognitive collapse is becoming more apparent. The century-long process of steady IQ gains, called the Flynn effect, has actually reversed. Similarly, the literacy rates that we have tirelessly pushed upwards for millennia are actually in freefall, and there are a few explanations as to why. We of course have technology and possible effects of having microplastics in our brains impeding development, but the previously mentioned dysgenics also offer an explanation. Historically, it was the ruling classes who had the most kids. Modern medicine reduced infant mortality to almost nothing, while wealthy and educated people stopped having so many children. So the least intelligent group started dominating the gene pool. Currently, from the perspective of nature, low IQs are rewarded. Apart from this, let's address the elephant in the room. When you import 67 IQ Somalians, they will drag the average down. Then we have the teachers, genuinely some of the most incompetent and evil people walking the earth. For the past few decades, there's been a war between the phonics and the whole language approaches to teaching kids the English language. The latter won, so it became common teaching practice to force kids to memorize how English words sound without actually explaining what combinations of letters make what sounds. This led to a process dubbed kanjification, because kids are taught to read English words as symbols instead of phonetic clusters. This leads to kids not knowing how to pronounce or read words just because they've never seen them before and have not memorized them yet. I focused on America, but Europe largely echoes the same losing battle with functional illiteracy for very similar reasons. But it's not just the teacher's fault. There are policies in place that justify letting borderline illiterate kids graduate, combat the big racism. The current philosophy and teaching is that not letting an entire class of people of color pass is a big no-no, otherwise entire school districts would just be soft-locked out of progressing. It's scary to think that at the most complex stage of civilization we're losing the cognitive ability to fully understand its inner workings. You might not believe that advertisements, buildings, cars, or movies reflect societal downfall, but we're dealing with the two best documented classic traits of civilizational collapse, that being destructive migration and the following intellectual decline. From the mysterious sea peoples, barbarian tribal confederations to the united biomass of the global south, we're forging a historical link that proves history really does repeat itself. And yet, the scariest things are those that have no precedent in human history. In 1962, a researcher at the National Institute of Mental Health by the name of John B. Calhoun published his findings on an experiment that would go on to be dubbed the Rat Utopia. The animals placed in an enclosure with abundant food and shelter started developing social pathologies as the population grew. The males either retreated from society or became hyperactive rape missiles, while the females lost all interest in maternity. This study was criticized for its methodological flaws, but was never fully replicated again due to ethics restrictions. And yet some say it has been. Calhoun has somehow managed to reverse engineer the modern world. As humans venture further into unknown territory in an increasingly unnatural society, we get to experience for ourselves the unforeseen consequences of the Industrial Revolution. Contrary to the classical forms of societal decline, we're exploring new levels of deviation from the norm, and when you focus on women, the insanity really becomes apparent.
The women have gone insane. The goy have gone insane. It's like earlier I mentioned that like because empires rise and fall, even though we're at the decline and we're no the decline, we'll probably rise again and then things would be fine, right? But as he just mentioned here, we're in a whole new territory here as a human race. I did kind of mention it earlier when I said we advanced so quickly, but I meant it in the sense of like advanced so quickly that maybe we can actually fix our mistakes better. But if we really are in this, rat utopia, which we really seem like that we are, which we've never been before. Yes, Weimar, Weimar problems create Weimar solutions, but we're getting to new ultra level Weimar problems. As he brought up the whole male to female, problem, cooker and vagina, and the douching problems that they have. And his example, it does make one wonder, and it's not exactly a good thought, is if there actually is a No. I was gonna say if there's actually a way out of this. Well, obviously there is a way out of it, right? Because you can't black pill, you can't give up, right? I literally just said that like 20 minutes ago or something along those lines. There. I still want to stand by it. But I'm afraid that we can't actually look at history for motivation. Because we are in new unexplored territory as it is. We can look back, like, maybe we can look back for inspiration, but it's not going to be the textbook way of how to get out of it. Because things are just so decayed and so twisted in a way that we've literally never seen before. The solution to get out of it, and, well, actually, more than likely, not even just getting out of it, but the period of time after the decay has, after society has fallen, and you have what's essentially our version of the Dark Ages, even though they, once again, weren't that bad, but our version of the Dark Ages, until we finally get into a new renaissance to fix things, is going to look quite a bit different because of the problems that this version of Ultra Weimar has brought upon us. Even if there's no political solution, there's still a solution. Yeah, there's still a solution. Right? I'm not going to say there's no solution, but I don't think we can really look back at history and be like, this is going to be fine. We will be fine, but it's not going to be the same way as the typical cycle of empires rise and fall type of fine. It's gonna be difficult, and it's not exactly a pleasant thought process. And I, mm, but hey, the good news is we're moving on to the topic of women, and I definitely know how to talk passion about women. See, I like that makes me happy. You know, we'll ignore the demographic replacement. We'll just blame everything on women. uh, Thank you, Anime Ackerman, for the $20 redos. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Badlands, Rushmore, Neil's Eye, Lake Sylvan, Lake Lakota, Deadwood, Wall Drug in the city of Wall, Rapid City, and Crazy Horse Monument. I will say skip Deadwood and Crazy Horse. Also went over Devil's Tower, it's just inside Wyoming. Deadwood is a mini Las Vegas, and Crazy Horse is like $10 to $12 per person, plus $5 to see the unfinished base of 100 or 125 per person to see head. I'll be honest, didn't know about those different things other than Badlands and Rushmore. I have been to both of those before. I forgot Rushmore was in South Dakota. I remember the Badlands because I was not really impressed by the Badlands. I didn't know about the rest of them. Wall of Drug in the city of Wall doesn't sound that beneficial, but I mean, I guess I'm going based off the drug title there. So, yeah. But I mean, hey, I guess South Dakota has something, but better than Kansas, which literally has nothing. I've been to Kansas before too. Fucking nothing. Thank you, Anime Ackerman, for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now more people can join the members only streams. Yay. Yay. That makes me very happy. Makes me very, very happy there. Oh, Jew daycare! I brought this up earlier, Jew daycare. Yay, my favorite subject.
1 year later, after Calhoun's findings, Betty Friedan, an American feminist, released a book called The Feminine Mystique, where she argued that women would be better off working instead of being housewives. If you're wondering, yes, she was. This book is credited with kicking off second-wave feminism, which wasn't satisfied with women just having voting rights and wanted to strive for equal opportunities in the workplace. 3 things happened as a result. Divorce rates exploded, the birth rate collapsed, and we saw the legendary Gen Z boss in a mini video surface, where your typical office drones goof off in front of the camera. The tasteful naivety of it. Oh my god, it even has an Asian woman. When this video was released, it was like an MK Ultra activation protocol to make people hate women. Let me illuminate 3 reasons why. Women tend to force themselves into previously all-male spaces and instantly demand changes. When they entered the workforce, they demanded modesty boards and more privacy. This trend amplified the shift from the open-plan office design to the dystopian hellhole cubicle farms. One time, literally like 3 of them decided to get into gaming, and that's all it took to cause unprecedented upheaval in the community. The same goes for gyms, and some even say they ruined racism. They made racism unfunny. But this is just—
did I make racism unfunny, chat? Did I? Anyways.
just one reason. Someone might observe that I'm just seething that women are having fun, and here's your mistake, they are not having fun. Despite getting all the leeway in the workforce over the past 60 years, their life satisfaction has declined relative to men. It just so seems like being an epic girl boss is more mentally taxing than previously anticipated. As the feminist saying goes, only work can set you free. Francis Parker Yockey once said that feminism liberated women from the natural dignity of their sex and turned them into inferior men. Which I do not agree with, but it definitely made them sadder. It might just be that the corporate meat grinder is an unnatural hellhole that results in increasing social pathology. What's interesting is in many cases the more money a guy makes, the more likely he is to have kids, while women prefer killing them, building shareholder value, and paying taxes, I guess. We're one step closer to turning every human into an economic unit. You know, I always—
Well, the thing is, as he already mentioned about how women are actually sadder, like, statistically, they are, more depressed, they're more anxious, they're on a whole host of different medications. Birth controls obviously really fucked them up mentally and hormonally as well. Like, women have just completely been just obliterated by being put in the workforce. And with that, obviously, the birth rates and dating and also negatively affected men. But men can actually survive being by themselves, not exactly happily, but they can. But women absolutely need a man to provide for them, is biology required within them. And so being a girl boss is antithetical to their biology, because they're not supposed to be 36 and alone with 30 different fucking cats. Like, they're supposed to be 36 and married with a few kids and with maybe a couple grandkids along the way by the time they're 36. Biologically, women are not meant to be alone. They're not meant to be in the corporate, slave grinding away, because that's the only jobs they can take. Once again, they're not doing the physical jobs. They're not being laborers, right? And being plumbers or engineers or trashmen. They're just stuck in Jew daycare because of it. And it's awful. No woman actually enjoys it. And yet they're being propagandized from literally the day that they're born and to go into this. I mean, even my dad has the same mentality as well, unfortunately, because he is a boomer. I love my dad dearly. My dad's amazing, and I would not be who I am today without him because my mom was fucking abysmal. So I'm not trying to bash my dad in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to use him as an example of boomer propaganda because of like he was very upset when I didn't go to college. Um, Granted, I was also the only kid with have a college fund, so there's also that aspect to it. But he really wanted me to go to college, and he's really trying to get me to a career. He thought I was wasting my life. When I was in my now failed relationship for many years and working towards marriage, he thought I was going to get married too young, and that I needed to actually do something with my life. And then yesterday, he asked me why Pam Bondi got fired. And I said it's because of she was possibly has connections with Sawwell and they're investigating him. And he's like, "Wow, it's strange that two women have gotten sacked recently." And I'm just like, "Yeah, well, woman shouldn't be." I let it slip and I said that woman shouldn't be in the position of power anyway. And he's just like, women aren't the problem." And I'm just like, "Oops, oops, um." Okay then, it's okay, Dad. It's okay. It's just they've been brought up to believe this and then passed down from generation to generation ever since the World War II. He kind of mentioned this earlier, with like founding myths and that war ever since World War II things have significantly changed. And maybe he'll bring it up because we still have a decent amount of it still left. But World War II is literally our founding myth. Ever since it ended, everything's been based off trying to not have another funny mustache man. We can't be racist. We can't be sexist. We can't actually have nations and borders. We have to let in the entirety of the third world, no matter what. We there's no actual patriotism because patriotism is nationalism. Nationalism is evil because the funny mustache man did it. Even though patriotism and nationalism are two different things, and nationalism is not even a bad thing either. Like there's all this propaganda shoved down our throats 24/7 because we built our founding myth on a negative tree, an upside down tree that's poisonous from literally the seed that it was planted from, and it has completely destroyed us as a society because of this. And going back to the woman aspect of things, this is part of it. This is part of it. And from the day that you're born, it's being shoved in your face and told you can't be racist, you can't be sexist, women have to go in the Jew daycare and sacrifice their life. And then we wonder why we have so many problems.
Wondered why death is often personified as female. It might be because Western society is going extinct as a result of their lifestyle. While this video is the contemporary version of the Dance of Death, where many women choose being a mentally unwell, perpetually 16-year-old hedonist over fulfilling their most biologically basic service towards society, that being its preservation. And by the way, if anyone thinks this segment is supposed to be misogynistic, please reconsider whether brainwashing the fair sex into living sad and unfulfilling lives was the pro-women stance in the first place. Suffice to say, the feminist experiment can be concluded as a catastrophic failure, but in order to not sound like a raging homosexual, we have to even out the scales, because what the guys are doing is equally bad.
Not to fully defend women, because as he was showing, there are plenty of women that actually are more than happy to be, or pretend to be happy that they're 35 and childless and have no problems whatsoever. I'm bashing my family once again, which I probably shouldn't do, but my sister's the same way. I love my sister. She's basically my mother figure, but she's a TERF, and that includes the radical feminist part of things. Firmly believing that, the patriarchy, and then she's more fulfilled being a girl boss, and I can tell you she's not more fulfilled. It's a shame, as I and then this is why I'm trying to prevent that from happening to me, from learning from previous generations' mistakes. But I remember like last year I was talking about dating, and she's like, "Well, just freeze your eggs. You have more time. You don't have to worry about it." In our family, it's normal for a woman to have, babies when they're 40 and have no problems and complications. You're still young. It's okay. I'm just like, no. No. I'm not doing that. I know I can. I've learned from you, and I've learned from many women like you that's not going to happen. So like I think the older women are coping with the fact that they're childless and happy, even though they're very clearly not. But for the younger women, like around my age roughly, yes, there's still going to be quite a few of them are girl boss feminists, but I've also seen plenty of TikToks of women crying about being forced to go into the 9 to 5 wage slave things. And it's really like, what choice do us women really have? Because we don't actually have a choice. It's supposed to be like, oh, women can choose to stay at home or they can go into the workforce. No, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We're sent from high school to college by our parents. And if we don't go to college, we're demonized. Uh, and then we still have to go into the workforce and work at Walmart or some other like low tier like low skill jobs in general. And we obviously, ideally, we'll find a man that will pick us up from the poverty and marry us, and that's the ideal. But if women are inflating the workforce and stopping men from being able to get the high-paying jobs because they're in the workforce, and even taking the low-skill jobs as well, then men can't make that money, and therefore then there's no there's no man to save us from the poverty, and we still both have to work to just pay our basic bills and groceries for the month, which still makes it harder to have kids because once, as has already been statistically proven, women in the workforce stops them from having kids. It's not just the girl bosses, it's just even like the low skilled jobs too. Just makes it hard to have kids in general. Women don't really have a choice anymore. You have to go to work. I mean, like, um, do not take this the wrong way. I love streaming very much, and I'm very happy that my job is streaming. Thanks to you, chat. I know this sounds really fake and gay, and I especially since I've been saying it a little bit more recently, so then it gets repetitive, and then it really is like fake and gay and all that fun stuff, right? But it's still a job. I'm still paying bills. And I'd rather be doing this than working at Walmart or being some other like Jew daycare wage slave or in any way, shape, or form. But it's still a job that I have to do to pay my bills. In the meantime, waiting for Chad to come down and save me before they become a homemaker instead. Like it's still a process here. That's happening. I'm very lucky to be able to this is my job, but it's still a woman with a job regardless. Um, Same for any female streamer. Hmm. You're welcome. Well, thank you. I really do actually appreciate it. Like, fuck, I'd rather be streaming than a wage slave. Like I think anybody would rather be streaming than a wage slave. Or a gas station. I did enjoy my gas station time, but yeah, it's still just a gas station. Um, so yeah, it is. It is what it is. Woman most affected. Well, it's. I mean, he's going to be bashing the men here in a second, so that even out the misogyny here. But I mean, women really have been negatively affected in extreme ways, and then they get a lot of the blame for it, which a lot of it is for good reason. But it's also the men that have caused it too. Like, men are the ones that gave women the right to vote. Men were the ones that allowed women to go into the workforce. Men are the ones that brought the Hart Seller Act, which changed the demographics. Like, It's technically men. Now, of course, we can talk about it's a specific demographic of men, like the tiny hats. That changes things. Um, there. But unfortunately, technically, you can technically tie it back to men. But regardless of the case, both men and women have been hugely demoralized and put down by these policies. The average man, like, cause even if you want to take out the tiny hats from the equation, it's still the elite men that kicked the ladder and told told regular men like you in chat to do this stuff, right? And say fuck you. Like I had zero say. Yes, exactly. Like it's not your fault as men for this. Just like the fucking girl working at Walmart, it's not exactly her fault for these things either, though she probably is also voting for it, but take away the 19th already, okay? Like, both sexes have been completely obliterated thanks to these policies over the past 60 to 80 years. It's just easier to point out women because they're they are clearly the most insane because of it. Amal's now victim shaming, man. I'm not trying to victim shaming. I'm just trying to go to like the origin of this technically, if we want to be technical here. But both men and women are suffering equally? Question mark? They're both suffering different ways. And unfortunately, the worst part is not only are women suffering, but women are being used as the gun to shoot the men to make them suffer. And it's just, it makes everything so much fucking worse. It makes everything so much fucking worse.
Would you rather let in 1 million more Indians into England or never watch football again?
Oh, I'll have to let him in.
You're fucking kidding me.
There is a distinct genre of man that loves watching sports ball, the hypnotic effects of which cannot be easily broken. A subject that embodies everything wrong with the current state of society, all in one package. A demographic replacement, obnoxious politics, gambling marketed as investing, and worst of all, it makes you care a bit too much about things that are a bit too irrelevant. This reminds me of The Brave New World, a novel that presented an interesting dystopian vision where the government keeps the general masses docile by distributing a happiness-inducing drug called Soma. Contrary to what we see in 1984, the ruling elite doesn't have to use terror, instill a constant state of war, or intimidate its people. Distracting them is enough. Look at Canadians. There was more outrage over a lost ball game with the US than after 20 Gorillian Indians were dumped on their soil overnight. As the ancient Roman poet Juvenal once wrote, give them DoorDash and sports ball and they will never revolt. And before someone accuses me of being petty, I have no problems with sports. Actually, I believe they are beneficial to society. But when you reduce actual sport participation to mindless consumption, the urgent circumstances of our countries turning into global Brazil would find a better use of that rage and emotion. In the historical cycle, we might just be the weak men creating bad times, where our instincts of tribalism and identity are replaced with a guy called Ngubu. So as it turns out, neither men nor women are fully capable of acting out their God-ordained duties of ensuring the continuity of society in two different, but equally important ways. I always found it puzzling that in the Red Utopia the rodents just lost the ability to preserve their society, and yet we've managed to do the exact same feat of regression ourselves. But let's focus on the type of content sports ball is a part of, that being goy slop, a name that applies to any form of entertainment that in return for short-term dopamine slowly turns you into a goy slave gynozogged lobotomite. Sports gambling, endless social media feeds, and porn hit white men like crack hit black ghettos in the 80s. The most socially destructive behaviors are now gamified and accessible at any place and time. There hasn't been a worse time to be alive as someone with low impulse control. The consumption is pervasive, it's everywhere, working like a carrot on a stick, selling you dreams of escaping the poverty spiral. When Epstein referred to the general masses as the goyim, this is what he meant, people who live just to consume illusions. Just like technology made warfare even more inhuman than it already was because it refined killing to a science, the development of technology created a butterfly effect of abominations that are increasingly efficient at exploiting our own subconscious cognition against ourselves. For the first time in centuries, we have reached a point where the use of technology is synonymous with a decrease in life satisfaction.
That's me. I'm a boomer in a zoomer's body. I don't know how to work tech whatsoever. Okay, I shouldn't say whatsoever. But yeah, I'm not really good. Like I had computer class in my school. And so but like that computer class was like how to work Word or Excel. And even then I don't really remember how to work Excel because it never was useful in my life. I know like some like basic bitch things, but I'm not I'm pretty inept. Triam takes care of like all my tech stuff for me. Like fixing the kick chat showing on screen, for example. You're supposed to see kick everyone's chat, YouTube, Rumble, and Kick over on my screen, but the kick chat's not working. I just don't know how to fix it, so I just need a man to fix it for me. Oh, there. So yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm all driving car would be Asian levels. Excuse you. I've been driving for a long time and I've never got to an accident before. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So okay, how bad is the gambling thing actually? Cuz I'm assuming I'm just like not on the right side of the internet, but it's this based on the statistics that you show in here and all the different examples. It looks pretty abysmal. But I never see it online because I'm not part of the whole crypto gambling thingy. The worst I see is gotcha. And well, listen. If we don't talk about the gotcha addiction that I may or may not have actually. Oh, there. But like actual the gambling aspect of things. Hmm. Very bad. Very bad. Jesus. Almost anything can be bet on. Like I know I've seen like the poly market things, like will JD Vance be the president in 2028, or will Republicans fail the midterm, or like different things like that. Which I don't really think betting. Like I guess betting is kind of the new form of polls, but like it's still only I thought it was like a really small section. But people take it as truth, which I use them as memes, so like haha funny, right? But like people want to take it as truth because like, as like a real actual poll. Are enough guys actually betting on poly market for that to be a real poll? Like, because I guess gambling in general. There, like, it's just weird. I never really got into gambling myself. Like, gotcha's definitely the closest there. Motherfuckers going bankrupt over horse girl gotcha. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about. Let's focus on men and their gambling addictions instead.
We are victims of our own success. I never thought this is what man-made horrors would look like. No cosmic decorum, just subjugation through pleasure. As a conclusion, one might look upon the Unabomber and his manifesto, his main point being the further we stray from nature into technology, the worse life is going to be.
I mean, I personally believe that. I'm not a complete Luddite, seeing that I'm an anime girl on the internet, but I prefer nature by a massive more than technology for sure. And I do think us straying away from nature, being locked inside our houses, not actually going outside and touching grass, and just trying to find sources of happiness where they just don't exist, definitely has had some negative effects upon society. Also, I might be a bit late to the draw, but I've just noticed that the pillar is decaying whenever the new chapter comes up. Hold on, let me. Where's the one of the other chapters? I'm pretty sure the pillar is decaying. Here. Surely. Okay, there's definitely been a few chapters since then. I've wanted to actually see the difference myself. Because I just noticed it. Okay, well, I'm a little bit tarded. And I'm not gonna go all the way back in the video to actually properly see it. But that's a cool detail that he added. I love Flight from Syracuse so much. It's a shame his other videos got fucking cheated off the internet. But anyways, okay, I can't. I don't also.
This whole video was inspired by a single prophetic 4chan post uploaded all the way back in 2013. There will be no collapse the way some people think of it. You'll just notice that every day simple things will become a little more expensive. Everyone's homes and apartments will start to get smaller. Your work hours will get longer, but your pay will decrease. You'll see family and friends less and find that in time you care less about them. Every day you'll find yourself lowering your standards for everything. Work, food, relationships, etc. Job security will no longer exist as a concept. People will start hanging on to clothing longer and longer. Less people will get married, even less will have children. People will engross themselves in technological distractions and fantasy while never truly experiencing the real world. This vision of a slow and methodical decline goes against the grain of a typical religious or cinematic depiction of civilizational collapse. Our imagination suggests abruptness and volatility, but we aren't undergoing societal collapse. Decline is a better term. Instead of hell, we're headed towards purgatory. Functional societies having their systems contradicted and values reversed, their people and cultures replaced. Except unlike in the paradox of Theseus's ship, we're downgrading almost every aspect. Still, one question remains unanswered. How did a post from 2013 predict the future so well? Every civilization will have some prediction about the end times, but when you separate the insane from the reasonable, you're left with a few archetypical chuds. Oswald Spengler is one of them. After the First World War, he predicted rampant materialism, urbanization, sterile intellectualism, and the inevitability of collapse. To him, a civilization is an organic being, and as a result is subject to the elementary laws of nature. It is born, reaches its peak, and like every other organism, soon shrivels up and dies. This belief makes a lot of sense when you realize that some things are predestined to get worse. In 1790s America, the local and state taxes were minimal, and the federal taxes were so low a year's worth of them could be paid off with 4 days worth of wages. Unfortunately, each war and crisis brought about new taxes that became like guests that refused to leave. Similarly, in Europe you have useless welfare states that pay more to those who are unproductive than to the actual workforce. What doesn't
I mean, technically we have the same in America. I saw a post the other day on Twitter that explained how America actually already has UBI, Universal Basic Income, and that was quite telling, actually. Maybe I'll bring it up. Remind me to bring it up on when we get done with this video or a different stream, because I've been meaning to, because it's quite interesting how the breakdown of it, because it's actually very true, at least in my opinion. There, but there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program, which is basically all the different taxes every time a war happens. Like, oh, we got tax more to pay for this war. Oh, okay, well, this is tax are just kind of actually there for the rest of your life. Oh, isn't that sucks? Oh, another war. Increase those taxes. We gotta fund those boys. We have to give them supplies and guns. Oh, and I guess those taxes just kind of stay now, don't they? Don't they? It's like I said earlier when we were reacting to this video, we are in decline. We were watching it fall, and it's not gonna be saved in our lifetime, unless something extremely radical happens. You know, Weimar solutions pop up out of thin air. But at this time, in the year of our Lord 2026, April 3rd at 5:33 p.m., Amalgamyte predicts the dumb fucking woman that is no Caesar was going to arise from the ashes over the next couple years, in America at least. Roughly. I think we have to wait for 2028 and the election results then. But hey, you never know. Trump came out of nowhere. Rupert Lowe kind of came out of nowhere as well. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Please do. I'm interested. You know what? Since people are asking how do we have UBI right now, give me a second. I know we're not far from ending the video. But it's a big claim to talk about America has UBI. So let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm pretty sure I saved it. If I didn't save it, I deserve to be shot. I'm not even kidding. Oh, there we go. I found the list of the Indian companies that I brought up earlier in the video as well. I'll bring that up too. Aha. Here is the post for UBI. Here we go. It hasn't sunk in for most people, but we already live in a post-scarcity society. A scarcity society. UBI is already here. Basic package, disability, Medicaid, food stamps, etc. Bonus package, literally getting paid for staying at home and hanging out with your relatives. Extra bonus, if you're willing to commit fraud, pretend your kids are autistic and get paid for that. Get paid for watching your neighbor's kid, pretend you're taking care of your grandma. Fake hospice clinic, fake rehab clinic, fake therapy clinic. Pickup bonus, during a time of crisis, take advantage of P.E.P.E. or CARES and open a fake business and get paid extra for existing. People are shocked when they learn that defense is the 5th largest line item in the budget, ahead of defense. Social Security, 1.6 trillion, interest on debt, 1.1 trillion, Medicare, 1 trillion, Medicaid plus ACA, 1 trillion, and then defense, 0.9 trillion. Complain about defense all you like, but healthcare fraud is way bigger than factor. Hundreds of billions every year, or per year. This is only going to get worse because fraud is a structural part of the system. Payouts to client groups in exchange for votes, normally D. In the US, only 47% of the population actually works. Fully 14% of the population is working age and does not work. Retirees are 18% and children 22%. 47% of the population actually works. Less than 50% of the population actively works. And then it gets worse. The system I described above subsidizes 50 million non-working people absolute minimum. When in reality, it's far more because people that are paid to stay at home and take care of their relatives are considered workers. Of 47% of the actual workers, maybe 1/3 does real work. The rest are shuffling papers around or doing fake email jobs. Do daycare. So you have, rough math, 50 million actual workers supporting 300 million dependents. That's the nature of the economy today. It will only accelerate. Eventually, you will have 10 million using AI tools to do all the work and 340 million dependents. The math is a little bit off in this section, in my personal opinion, because even if the shuffling papers around doing fake email jobs are not real work, it's still a real job where they're being paid, and those people are still being paid the taxes there. And so it's probably not 1/3, but maybe like 2/3 of that 47% instead. Just because there's also going to be the fake jobs as well, and the ones that are, the ones that are scamming the system by having the fake daycares in like Minnesota, are considered, workers there too. And it's not just Minnesota that has the daycare and autism scams. Every single state has this. The blue states obviously have it the worst, but the red states do too. Like people were I know Ohio's certainly a swing state, but people are finding this shit in Ohio, for example. It's abysmal. The reason no one roots out the fraud is because the system that keeps our extremely fragile politically intact. The fraud is the UBI. The purpose of the system is what it does. Of course, it's a deeply unfair system, as you're allowed to commit fraud if you're a politically protected client group of the Democrats. Doge was killed faster than any government program ever, because it attempted to root out the fraud. Very true. That thing lasted like fucking 3 months, and it made Elon blackpill. If you're honest and unwilling to commit fraud, you're a huge loser in the system. Your neighbor will have their mortgage subsidized by some government program. They'll get favorable SBA loans due to DEI. They will open a fake hospice or autism clinic. They'll get paid for taking care of their neighbor's kid and vice versa. The primary skill in the labor market is learning how to extract money from the state and federal government programs, not gaining skills or making yourself employable. If you're trying to work an ordinary wage job, you're a huge sucker. You are paying 40 to 50% effective in all taxes to everyone else who's a net taker. The sad part is because of AI is such a substantial productivity boost, it will actually keep the system going on for a while longer and maybe in perpetuity. I don't know about that. I imagine decline, since we, going back to the video that we paused to talk about this, I have a feeling that things would fall before it lasts on forever. AI boosts of the 15% of the population that is actually productive so much that the remaining 85% can coast by. No one in charge will change this because they can't think of anything else. The biblical costs of a real UBI program are too great, and we don't have the money for it anyways. So we'll keep this covert fraud-based UBI program running indefinitely. Unfortunately, if you're honest, Swagey, you lose. So, and this post is amazing. Oh, even Elon actually, tweeted this. Grok expert analysis makes provocative core argument the US already has a de facto fraud-enabled covert UBI that subsidizes non-work through welfare programs, especially healthcare pandemic relief. The system politically entrenched as clientelism gives for votes, distorts labor markets, blah 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 blah. We're not gonna read the Grok thing, but basically, Grok said that a post check was fact-checked by real American patriots. True. Because when you actually break it down like this, it is correct. It is correct. Like I said, the only thing that might not be completely, accurate is the whole 50 million actual workers supporting 300 million dependents. But it was going to be like 75 million actual workers supporting 275 million dependents instead. Like, it's still not a great ratio, regardless, even with this technicality here, because of how bad it is. Like, Social Security, interest on debt, Medicare and Medicaid. All of them are numbers ahead for the defense. Like, unfortunately, in my own family, there is a woman that has had 4 different kids with 3 different baby daddies because she was just getting welfare from the government because you're getting paid to be a single mom. And unfortunately, she's also white too, which makes things even worse. But she basically asked black, and she eventually got her kids taken away. But it's a whole different story. There. But I mean, you see that most of them, that scam happened mostly in the black community because they have such huge problems with single motherhood there. Like entire demographics in the United States. Because keep in mind, the United States is only about 50. Oh god, what was the statistic? I brought it up on stream before. But we're only about like 55 to 60% white. And so we have almost half the country just defrauding us. The blacks on all the different welfare programs, the Mexicans working underneath the table, and then scamming the legal system to become legals even though they're not fully legals, and then all the other different fucking shit that they do. Obviously the Somalians, which I guess you can label them as, they're black, but they're not American black, obviously. The Haitians, eating the cats and the dogs. Oh, there's a stink bug, fucking hell. Like, and then all the women that are in so much debt, both for college and just credit card debt in general, that's just never getting paid off. We are just fucked. And we're barely staying by, but people just can still leech off the system. Like, it's now tax season, right? April 15th is when everybody's taxes are due. Well, as a streamer, not only are my yearly taxes from 2025 are due, but I had to do quarterly taxes as well. And they're both due on April 15th. And, which sucks in its own way, having to pay, twice the taxes, and it sort of, kind of. But I'm working on the taxes with my sister, who's an accountant, and she's helping me with them. And it's just, I'm sitting here thinking, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to do this? She's making me, categorize and all these, different things that I have to do. And I'm doing it, not just for legal reasons. She's actually making me do it. But I'm just sitting here do the Somalians have to do with this fucking shit in Minnesota? Because, I don't think they, with an average IQ of 60-8, I don't think they have the capability to know how to categorize. I know they're being led by the nose, by some sort of handler to help defraud the system that way. But regardless of them act how are they able to fucking scam the government? Versus me, the dumb fucking woman that lives with her in her dad's basement. I have to do everything by the book to make sure the Fed doesn't come after me. I was talking to my sister about this because I'm, whining about doing my taxes. And she's like, "Well, you have to." And she told me all these different cases that she's heard of or worked on to help fix where people have tried to scam the government. It's always whites. It's always fucking whites. That when they try to actually do something, they actually, be basically brown, which I don't really support. But listen, when 47% of the population actually works, And if you're an honest wagey, you're the biggest loser here. I fully support people just not paying their fucking taxes. Like, just not fucking paying their taxes whatsoever. Because what's the point? You're sacrificing like what, a fourth or a third of your income? I guess it depends on your tax bracket, obviously. But you're sacrificing a huge percent of your income for people that hate you and want you to die. It's just, it fucking sucks. There's no other better way to describe it other than it fucking sucks. I think you have this Nick Carter guy who talks about how we base life UBI because of it, and you just sit here just thinking, hey, then why can't I get on it then? Like, I don't want to be like a leeching around here. I would like to actually be an honest wagey, and but like we don't have a population that's like it because we're too fucking filled with browns. Yes, I'm a sucker. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Like, but have to do it anyways because you're the good person. You're part of the 47%, or 1/3 of it, depending on if you fully agree with this paragraph of that 47%. That actually, is paying for literally everybody else. This is why I like, I say that like over half the population in America needs to be deported. Maybe I need to do like a long Twitter post like this breaking down the numbers too. But like half the population needs to be deported because they're all fucking foreigners leeching out the system just like this. And then we wouldn't have all these problems. Like, or there was this one video I reacted to by Dev Anna. It was a great video talking about how like Gen Z doesn't want to work. This is why Gen Z doesn't want to fucking work. What's the point of working these days? Like, seriously. What's the point of working? Okay, to pay your bills. Why should I bother about paying my bills? But I can just get on some sort of, government-assisted program and have the government pay for it instead. I know, like, white men struggle with that because they're white men and so they can't really do it as much. But at the same time, just pretend that you're black and bam. There you go. There's, like, no reason to work whatsoever. Obviously, you still have to pay the bills, and it's all those other fun stuff, but to go back to the video, welcome to the decline of the West, because this is exactly what we're fucking facing. This is part of what he's discussing right here. Obviously, file taxes for legal purposes, okay? I don't want the feds coming after me or you, because I'm saying, for legal reasons, pay your fucking taxes. Only for legal reasons.
Help our situation is once the government grabs a hold of power, it will never let go. We are seeing a shift towards the interception of user data barely disguised as online safety regulations. People are catching on when there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government policy. What many call the ratchet effect, that some things just keep getting worse. The process of bureaucratic bloat makes governments about as functional as a Brazilian slum. The legislation that began with reasonable action soon snowballed into micromanaging your life. As Carol Quigley put it, we're dealing with the metamorphosis of social instruments, which were set up to meet actual needs, into institutions which serve their own interest at the expense of social needs. One of the best documented human behaviors in history is the inability or unwillingness to correct the course of changes leading to failure. The bureaucracy would rather splatter its remains for spontaneous combustion than reduce its size willingly. As we can infer from numerous previous examples, when the changes are laid out at a slow enough pace, people will notice really late that something is going wrong. The lack of perception and boundless tolerance are hurting the Western consumer, citizen, and taxpayer. It's not just the system at fault, but also its subject refusing to—
Oops, I forgot to turn off the background music, sorry chat.
act when being boiled alive. But before we continue, when did this decline in living standards actually begin? Upon examining the starting point of rising inflation, gas prices, house prices, wealth inequality, feminism, immigration, and aid to Israel, we can accurately say the 60s and 70s. But one trend stemming from these decades, forgotten by many, is the Great Decoupling. It saw wages stagnate while productivity grew thanks to technical innovations aiding in workflows. There are many who believe further developments benefits will help humanity, but for the past 60 years, those benefits have been largely intangible for the common man. So here's the thing, I painted a very gloomy picture of a slow and inevitable descent into madness. But many argue technological growth is going to pull us out of the mud, that prosperity is rising worldwide, and that the adversity of nature has been tamed. What I described as making people retarded, disenfranchised, and sad has traditionally been understood as progress. Granted, automation could disincentivize the inflow of slave labor into the West, so there are two sides to every argument, and I'll make the case that both the pessimist and optimist can be right at the same time.
I know he's gonna make the argument that the pessimist and optimist can be right at the same time, but I'm sorry, I'm the pessimist. After reading that Twitter post 2 seconds ago about the UBI and how AI is gonna make things worse, I'm sorry. Like, automation is gonna put people out of even more jobs, and they're still gonna be importing the fucking brown noids in just because it's not the like, obviously, a large part of the chocolatiers coming in is because of slave labor, but another large part of it is purposely population replacement. Yes, they're easy slaves that they control until they boom out and start destroying everything like they normally do. But they still want white people eradicated just because they're white. It is that simple. I know it sounds crazy and egregious, but it's really just white people need to be eradicated. Because white people have built up civilization. White people are not easy to control, though. And you can maybe make the argument that based off how we've been boiling the frog for so long, that they kind of are. But now they're starting to actually rise up again. Now that they've realized, oh shit, we're being boiled alive. And so they want white people gone. That's why they have all those race mixing ads with the black man and the white woman, for example. Or the whole passport bros was a big thing back then, as and allowing MGTOW to be poisoned and into that kind of stuff to make them give up. That's why we had the whole woman versus man divide, or America versus Europe that I ranted about earlier. Like, these are all different ways to splinter us to actually stop focusing on the fact that we are being literally biologically replaced. As a whole, just because we're white. And even if AI brings any advancement, this means more white people out of jobs, and we're still gonna be importing all the browns, all the chocolatiers. Oh, the 3 chocolatiers.
The reason why it's possible is we're in a process of transformative limbo, slowly decaying in a weird state where some people lose everything they cherished, while others become relatively wealthier as the world equalizes into a
Hey, there's the Indian post actually. There we go. See, I had it saved as well. There we go. That's what I've been talking about in the earlier in the video here, but since he brought it up, I'll use his version. But yeah, like Google Indian, Microsoft Indian, YouTube Indian, Adobe Indian, World Bank Group Indian, IBM Indian, Infosys Indian, NetApp Indian, Palo Alto Networks Indian, Arista Networks Indian, Novartis Indian, Micron Technology Indian, Honeywell Indian, Flex Indian, Wayfair Indian. I feel like Hamza Yusuf from that like infamous speech that he did back in Scotland years ago, where he's like, this part of government, white. That part of government, white. 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 Except white people actually built this fucking shit. The Indians are taking over. There's a difference here. Wayfair Indian. Chanel Indian. Cognizant Indian. Vertex Pharmaceuticals Indian. Procter & Gamble Indian. T-Mobile Indian. Molson Coors Indian. FedEx Indian. Zscaler Indian. Microsoft Gaming Indian. They're all fucking Indian. All the tech sector has been completely Indian. Even if I don't recognize like half the names, like Palo Alto Networks, or whatever the case is, they're still all ran by Indians. And maybe he'll post it in his video here. But the nice thing about the one I have, at least, is founder of Google, American, founder of Microsoft, Indian, founder of YouTube, Indian, founder of Adobe, Indian, founder of World Bank Group, Indian, founder of IBM, Indian, founder of Albertsons, Indian, founder of NetApp, Indian, Arista Networks, not Indian, sorry, American. Blech. Same thing at this point, based off how Texas looks. Anyways, well, basically, the point is, all these original companies that have been taken over by Indians were originally actually Americans, because they're like fucking cockroaches that infest everything. And it's just absolutely fucking disgusting.
Single interconnected cesspool. Civilizational decline is a matter of perspective, as the already rich will just accumulate more, and the extremely impoverished have means of improving their circumstances. It's the people with regular expectations from life that get reaped. We're entering the era of asymmetric collapse and weird uneven growth, where some groups are elevated into wealth and have all the reasons to be optimistic, while others are cast into a spiral of disappointment. All the necessities are getting more expensive, while the tools of your enslavement are abundant and cheap. The whole economy stagnates while a handful of companies carry the bulk of growth, and actual innovation is limited to a very narrow field while most products just inshitify. To add insult to injury, ideologies that swore to fight corporations actually just did their bidding. We're stuck in a progress trap, chasing a fraction of our past growth by destroying our society with each step. Not to mention that whether with the technology hell-induced mental health crisis or dysgenic selection caused by advancements in medicine, even our success has dealt us debilitating blows. It does feel like a civilization has an expiration date, but the prosperity of the 20th century was more like a historical exception than an achievable norm. And instead of amending past mistakes, growing a moral spine, rethinking past dogmas, and placing our people first, we gain no new knowledge of ourselves, continuing on a path that benefits fewer and fewer people. The reason why something feels wrong with the current state of society is a result of the very foundational tenets of the contemporary world being nullified by reality itself. The growth we see is largely subjective. The instincts of empathy and openness have been usurped to force foreigner-induced misery onto the natives. The roles of both men and women have been twisted into unrecognizable forms. Technological advancements are starting to seem more concerning than fascinating, and the government, it will not take care of you. It's no longer public versus private institutions, but economic organizations versus the economic unit. An individual robbed of their culture, nationality, and traditional gender roles, depraved in their pursuit of dopamine, a member of a society increasingly resembling the Star Wars cantina. The Western civilization as of now is on a trajectory towards prolonged agony, but it isn't over yet. We need to make an important distinction between declinism, a belief that the West is succumbing to entropy, from defeatism, which just says it's over and there's nothing we can do about it. The big difference is, while one surrenders to collapse, the other sees it as a rallying call to action.
That is dangerous right there, sir. That's a little bit of a peak right there, but you know what? Hey, a little bit of ankle never hurt anybody, right? But that's what I was talking about earlier, about how, like, you can't give up. Like, even though it looks like it's over, you just can't fucking give up. Because once you do, then it actually officially is over. You've tapped out. The bell has rang. It's the show's over. You just cannot give up. So, I do wonder how we get out of this mess. Because obviously we gotta vote our way out of it. But it's something that we need to decide ASAP and figure out ASAP as well to be able to do so, or else it really actually will be over. But we're not there yet. I didn't hear no bell. Oh, that was literally it. That was...
One surrenders to collapse, the other sees it as a rallying call to action.
Oh, that's a good ending to that video. I kind of feel bad that I paused it when I did. Because, like, that was a very succinct ending right there with the little... Especially with what it was showing there. Oh, I love him so much. I love Flight from Syracuse. Here you go, chat. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here. Watch the video, like it. You know, maybe comment to help for the algorithm aspect of things. Actually, liking's the most important thing, apparently. Like, if you like the stream, if you like my yappening, then you should like the stream. Because apparently likes are what YouTube cares about significantly. But still, actually watch the video. You know, don't put it on mute, because apparently YouTube doesn't like it when you put videos on mute anymore. And for like 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, to actually support him, because he does make like, this whole thing is just a fucking masterpiece. 40 minutes, essentially, a little bit less than 40 minutes, to properly explain with multiple examples of how the West is declining within the modern age. I know it's based off a book by the same name, and he's using the pillars from it. But it's one thing to read a book from decades ago about the decline of the West, versus another thing to see a video with visual aid, with actual statistics and proof, and showing exactly how it's happening in the modern age in the year of our Lord 2026. Which I'm not sure why you're... Load better here. Yeah. What was I saying? I got distracted by the fact that it was taking 56 years to fucking load, but this is great. It's just a shame that these other videos have gotten yeeted because they're masterpieces as well. With the only one really left is a pity both sides can't lose, but he's fucking great. I love him. Full homo. I love him so much. Literal call to action. Yes. That was such a succinct ending. I got like fucking... I got fucking chills from that. I'm sorry I don't have too much more to actually like add to this, because it's just like he does such a good job explaining everything, and he deserves all the credit that he can fucking get because of it. Don't soy out of this. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, like as we heard from the whole discourse of misogyny from earlier in the stream, right? There's no intellectual woman, right? No intellectual woman. Women just repeat the same thing from men, right? There's no actual geniuses. I'm the same way here. Here's an actual genius man, right? A young man, because he showed his face in videos before. And he's young, he's handsome. And you know, I hope he's got his life relatively together as best as he can. Who is putting in the effort to try to change, and he's clearly having massive cultural impact. I mean, the fact that he's able to get almost 100,000 subs in such a short amount of time is crazy. Each one of his vids does amazingly well. This vid was doing fantastic until it got struck down from copyright, which is... Oh, it's got age restricted? Oh, that's even worse. Jeez. Oh, not worse, but like that's awful fucking... Holy shit. Because... While I don't know his monetization on YouTube, I would hope he's monetized for his own sake. But based on the content, I would be kind of surprised if he is. Regardless, he should get the credit for what he's doing. And a vid being taken down because of copyright is such a gay thing. Like, if it was because it's too spicy, that would have been, like, a bit more reasonable. But for copyright and to lose all those views and all that possible pay because of fucking copyright, oh man, that had to hurt. That had to fucking hurt. And now being age restricted too, because for those who don't know, when your video is age restricted, it's basically dead in the algorithm. But I mean, he's still doing well, and obviously, like, you know, people like his stuff. I mean, I fucking love it. You guys seem to like it a lot too. Billions must rewatch. Yes, exactly. Like billions should. Like, this is a video that is evergreen, which means it has plenty of truth and plenty of discourse to last for a very long time. And he does put so many images so quickly within his videos and different statistics and things like that I can imagine on a rewatch you would probably notice something that you didn't see the first time around, because that, like the Lizzo thing, I didn't fucking see fucking Lizzo the first time. Oh my god, I remember when, come on, give me the Lizzo frame. I just had the Lizzo frame here. But I remember that happening, what was it, 29, roughly, here-ish, give or take, where Lizzo was all the rage because of the fat acceptance movement. And for the first time ever, she was the first person to ever touch, Thomas Jefferson's flute, and she did a whole fucking performance about it with her whole like black fat positivity fucking crap. There it is. This is an ancient flute, like 200 plus years old, that no one's been able to perform before with, because it's a historical artifact, and this fat black cow did it for her whole twerking ape performance. God, it's fucking disgusting. There. Just... But just another decline of the West. That's why he used it as an example. So... Man, Jefferson's brother wouldn't even tap that. Magnets are fucking magic. Oh yeah, for some reason, ICP is in my recommended. Like, yes, I've watched Miracles. How can you not watch Miracles? I mean, the recommended's so fucking weird sometimes. Oh, this is a video I want to react to. I have it in the tab right here. Because I'm just becoming the React Slop streamer, okay? Like, fuck the news. Who cares about Pam Bondi being fired here in articles, who's just being replaced? Liz, the fact that it's probably because she got tipped off Eric Swallow. No. React Slop. Let's do this instead. No, but unironically, I do want to react to this video because this is gonna be a spicy fucking video. Ooh, I watched this whole internet saga go down when it did a couple months ago. Ooh, buddy. Ooh. That is slop squared. I dare I say slop cubed. Yes, James Madison salute. Oh, sorry, I got the wrong historical figure. James Madison. Regardless, 250-plus-year-old fucking goddamn flute right here, and some fat black whale is just... Ugh. Ugh. There. Okay. Let me catch up on super chats. I'm pretty sure I missed some, didn't I? Did I miss some more super chats? I usually don't interrupt videos to read super chats, but you guys have been very generous today, and a lot of it was actually on topic, and it was a pretty long video. So let me go and do a little back end here. Let me see. Ammon Ackman, thank you for the $5 videos. Oh, don't worry, technology can also touch grass and transform into an abomination. Yeah, I mean, yes, but we don't talk about that. Thank you, VC Chung. Like, the back end has a different name than the front end, so therefore I want to make sure it's the front end that you use, not the actual back end here. But thank you, V Chung, for the $5 videos. Rich chat be like, are you looking for a husband? Yes, no. Well, technically yes, but not in that way. Sorry. Working on it is my typical phrase when it comes to different things like that. It's a working on it. Okay. And then thank you, Terminus Est, for subby bubby over on Kick. Thank you. And then let me see here. I know I missed some, like, there we go. Mirai GW, thank you for the resubby bubby. Thank you for 3 months in a row. And World End Fighter for a resubby bubby as well for 3 months. You guys are now have hit the first term and starting the second term of the pregnancy. I will pop you out in 6 months. We do not allow any preemies here, okay? We have healthy 9-month-old babies being popped out of my womb, okay? No preemies allowed. So I'm glad that we're in our second term. She wants a Chad, not a Chud. No. Both? Am I asking too much as a woman for both? I just want a nerd that can yap about whatever autistic fixation he has that's in relatively good shape. Doesn't have to be like a massive gym bro. And not an asshole or not a soy boy, because apparently that's basically my two types. I go from two extremes. I go from two extremes. I have bad taste. This is actually unironically why I think that women should just go from their parents to husbands. Just sell the woman off again. Women are so much bad at picking. Maybe it's just me avoiding accountability and responsibility once again. But based off my own experiences and based off my friends' experiences and my sisters and other women online that I've heard, different things like that, women just can't fucking pick men. Like, women just can't pick men. Now, there's obviously there's an argument there where, like, if a woman says all her boyfriends are assholes, then she's the real bitch and different things like that, which is definitely true, don't get me wrong. But, like, women just simply can't pick, and they can't settle down either. which obviously is a huge part of the problem of why birth rates are declining. Then it goes back to the whole, well, women are in the workforce now. Oh, there we go. There we go. Here's a screenshot that I should totally be on. Moving from the fat black woman to racism is cringe now. But yeah, like speaking of hoes being hoes right here. Like, women just can't fucking pick to save their life. And unfortunately, I've been cursed with a vagina, so that means I can't pick to save my life either. 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 diagnosticism. See, is that so hard to ask? Is that so hard to ask? Is that such a high demand for a woman? I just want 6 feet, 6 figures, and 6 diagnosticisms here. So, you know. Women aren't good judges of men. We definitely have better results with the fathers picking. Yes, 100%. But, here we are. Welcome to the modern age. At this point, I'm genuinely wondering if it's almost genetic. Women declared crusade against accountability. It is. Like, it firmly is. I know I'm speaking from advantage here by talking about this. But women really just can't be. They need men to hold them accountable. That's why they had so many restrictions on them. For the entirety of the human age until relatively recently. You know, I'm sure where's the statistics that he had somewhere in here. And then all of a sudden, woo! There we go. We'll use this. We'll just use this. Because there's a reason why there are so many moral and legal codes that hold women accountable. Being like stoned to death for being an adulterer, married off at like, let's say 18 for legal reasons. It was definitely younger than that, but 18 for legal reasons, to a husband, and just various different rules in place to keep them in check. Like, they're not meant to be they can't hold themselves accountable. They have to have a man to beat them. Women can't pick a degree for higher education. Oh, they can. It's going to be gender studies and lesbian dance theory. If you can't cook them all, let me take care of the cooking. Well, then I would be a failure for a woman if I can't cook. Last night, I made myself some steak, and it was one of the best steaks I ever fucking made. It was delicious. Fucking delicious. I have leftover. I know steak's not exactly good leftover, but the recipe called for 2 steaks, so I made 2 steaks, okay? And, yeah, so after stream, I'll be eating my leftover steak. I'm very happy. I like to cook. Yeah. If she can't cook, then she doesn't know what a crock pot is. You mean a crock pot? Crock pots are so easy. I actually don't like crock pots. Because I'm a 15-second African and I can't think far enough ahead. Because you have to be able to like actually put the ingredients and get prepared for dinner 8 hours or 4 hours before dinner actually happens. And since I just live with my dad but I cook for myself, I don't need to worry about that stuff. I just, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm hungry, I'll make food now. And so therefore I just make some simple food for myself. If I had kids, you know, married with kids, I probably would, because this actually does make things so much easier. But that would require like planning ahead versus just being by myself. I'm just like, I just, you know, make something randomly now because I'm hungry. But it does make things a million times easier. I went to cooking school because I saw them are women I knew who couldn't cook and they're just awful to be around. Well, women are just awful to be around in general. Shall we talk about our Lord and Savior Yuko Mishima again? Even though I just found him 2 hours ago, he is now he is now my god. Oh, this is a beautiful fucking video here. Jesus Christ, I can't believe a femboy was actually right about something. Holy fuck. Ooh. Amal makes voice swap confirm. No! I mean, yes, but no! It takes time, but it's possible to fuck up, just throw some scraps in it and let it go. Yeah, like, it makes it super fucking easy.
Is it the Jews? Is it
the Jews? Completely easy.
I'm assuming it's always the Jews.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I, honest to God, do not understand how women cannot cook.
Is it the Jews?
I guess it technically counts for men too, right? But I genuinely cannot understand how people cannot cook because of the fact, like, one just follow a fucking recipe. Like, Google exists. Just Google chicken recipes and just pick one that sounds good and just get the ingredients and follow it. It's not a hard concept. And same thing with slow cookers. Just look up a slow cooker recipe and throw the ingredients in. Put enough broth or whatever you need for whatever the sauce is or the soupiness of it's going to be. As that's usually what slow cookers are used for. And whatever the case is. And just, it's not hard. It's not fucking hard. It's just... I don't get it. I just do not fucking get it. It's so annoying. Thank you, Delta Cross, for the 25 shekels. Thank you. Since our economy is a joke, have an extra. Joke too long, check Discord. Okay. Two economists were walking through the woods. They stumble upon a pile of shit. I'll give you $100 to eat that, said the second to the first. So he does and gets paid. A few minutes later, they find another pile. I'll pay you $100 to eat this, said the first to the second. So he does and also gets paid. 10 minutes later, the first said to the second, you know, if I paid you $100 to eat shit and you paid me $100 to eat shit, doesn't that mean we both ate shit for nothing? What are you talking about? The second says the second. We increased the GDP by 200. Thank you, Rubber and Jiggle Fixes, for the $2 reduce. Stop being a woman mall. Go to man your patriarch, then marry you off for your clan, social and business upward mobility. Hashtag alien isolation. I will add that to alien isolation. Yeah. Seeing how my like I said yesterday, I slipped and I said that women shouldn't be in politics and roles of power. My dad was, what do you mean? I don't think he's gonna marry me off. Plus, that requires him knowing people, and he doesn't know anybody. I mean, he's got a wife now. And I guess she knows people. Well, I don't really want her marrying me off. If someone gave you money to play Postal 2 in its DLC, would you consider it? I mean, yeah, but we have so many game funds as it is. I need to be meaner with putting the stop on the game funds, but I just don't. Just the tips. Yes, always just the tips. We increased the shekels per goy. I hate that joke so much. I hate that so fucking much. Like, the fact that they ate shit basically for free, the GDP thing, I mean, it's a good joke because of how accurate it is, but the same, it makes me upsetty. It makes me upsetty. Play Steins Get You, bitch? That's a massive fucking game. It's a visual novel. I don't personally find visual novels like fun to play on stream. So much text and very little actual gameplay. But I do like the anime, so I'm not completely against it, except for the fact that it's probably just not a good game on. Also, is Kick broken? Question mark? I can't find people to rate on Kick because it doesn't work on Google. So then I pull up my Firefox and it's just not working on Firefox either. This is what it's looking like in Firefox, chat. Google doesn't load at all. Just refresh. Just okay. Well, cool. You know what? Kirsha's usually live at this point. So, you know what? I'll just rate her out of habit, and if I send you to an empty chat, I'm sorry. I don't think it is. I think I saw her on Twitter that she was live on Twitter. There. Oh, now my Kick chat's not working, and now I can't see any of you in Kick chat. Technical difficulties? Technical difficulties? It's just not working. It's just not working now. I can't, yeah. Cool. Both Chrome and Firefox have now shut the bed. Cool. Okay, well then. Never mind. Kick Bros, you get stuck with the Rumble Bros and the cuck chair thing. Congratulations. Stay sad and alone as YouTube gets the fuck temp. Because YouTube Bros, I am sending you over to temp. He is not political. So do not bring up politics in his chat whatsoever. Doing so is very gay, very lame and gay, and we do not being being lame and gay here whatsoever. You get thrown off buildings if you do. So YouTube Bros, have fun. Kick Bros, I guess, suffer. Thank you everybody for all your subby bobbies, donos, and vigorous spankings today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very kind and generous. Very, very kind and generous. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. EST. For my streams, I'll have Under the Bridge with V on his channel at 2:30 EST. I may or may not crash the Archcast again because I'll have to ask Arch. I like crashing the Archcast, not gonna lie. There and yeah. So regardless, no matter where you see me at, I will exist tomorrow. So good night, chat. Hasta la vista. Goodbye. Why? Bye.
I mean, hey, if Pac-Man affected us as kids, we'd all be munching magic pills and listening to repetitive electronic music, am I right?